each polypeptide chain is considered its own like protein subunit, quote unquote, and like I think that's cool.
Why?
Yeah.
We both had the
Yeah.
same reaction.
Yeah.
That shit's great. Hold on. Where's the other things I gotta do? Hold on. Oh, I can hear myself. Oh no, there's been a failing. We failed somehow.
It's been a phalanx.
There's been a. Oh, I can hear myself. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, I can hear myself. Wait, why?
Uh,
Did you start the stream on "Oh, I can hear myself"?
no, I started the stream before that. The Discord overlay is gonna be messed up. Don't yell at me, everyone.
Hey guys, did you know that? Did you guys know that Funk quit TF2 trading?
Was he?
Like
He was a
2
TF2
years
trader.
ago.
I thought he was just a T. I thought he just did TF2. Did he do trade
No, he
trade
just-
stuff?
He probably liked it.
He
He has
he said
at least one cosmetic.
he said he missed it. There's that.
Yeah, he did. He misses a lot of things actually.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are out here, alive. Yeah. Should I guess I could go over briefly what this is about. And then you guys can we get to hear awkward introductions from the other two people on the panel today.
That wasn't part of the deal.
But yeah, so hello guys, welcome to the first episode of something that may or may not continue depending on how today goes. This is called Upon Further Review, and it's a podcast that like I said, may or may not continue depending on how this today goes, where we are going to talk about content on this wonderful website that we call YouTube, as well as probably some other places. But the most important thing right now is we're going to be talking about YouTube videos and giving our thoughts on their quality, the quality of the writing, quality of things in them. Of course, most of you in chat know who I am, Levi, Lucid Liars person. There are also two other people here. There's Alan. Alan, would you like to say hi?
To me.
And then
Hi.
there's Angel.
And then there's Angel.
And then there's Angel. But yeah, so chat's saying my audio's low. I will turn it up a little bit. But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about YouTube content today. We have a little. I'm gonna give a little introduction to the topic of today's stream. A while ago, Uncle Dane made a video talking about giving his TF2 hot takes. Reading other people's TF2 hot takes. And there was one in particular that caught my attention when I watched the video for the first time, and I feel that it is worth talking about. And so I've prepared for us the Uncle Dane video with the particular clip that we're going to go over, and as well as a few other videos. We're going to watch a bit of ZestyJesus's team recognition video, and all of Funk's Death of an Artstyle. And we're going to talk about, of course, TF2, but we're also going to talk about whether or not you can make a video irresponsibly. And if you can, what does that mean? So I'm really excited about that. You guys got any thoughts? Other people in the panel today?
Is the specific reason he's called ZestyJesus?
I'm not sure. If you've seen the fan art that people make of ZestyJesus, it's something else. It's something.
Hold on, I'm doing my research.
Yeah, just look. No, you just can look up ZestyJesus and go to Google image search. It's
Is the fan art zesty?
Oh,
it's very zesty. His
It's
thumbnail,
definitely-
his like profile picture alone is quite zesty, I would say. But yeah, I thought briefly how we could start this is, do you guys want to give your like initial thoughts on the idea of making videos irresponsibly? What that could mean?
Alan, you
See-
go first.
Well, what does it mean to be irresponsible?
Well, that's what I.
See,
That's what I'm
Oxford
asking.
English Dictionary says irresponsibility is when you're not taking responsibility for the results that your actions may cause.
That is, I cannot believe that you would say such a controversial
I
statement.
made that up. That's not a. I didn't read that from the dictionary.
I believed you. I think that I guess I could start off. I could start off briefly and talk about what I think. I'm of the personal opinion that in order for you to make if you were to make a video or any kind of art really, in order for it to be irresponsible, you would have to obviously put out the art in a public forum. So obviously that's that's qualified by being a YouTuber, but additionally I think that you can only really make something irresponsible if you have a call to action of some kind, or what would be legally defined as like a call to action. So for instance, if I made a video and I was just like, hey, everyone in chat, go harass Alan, because he's a stinky poo-poo head, and he needs to be harassed. Could you guys please go send him death threats? Thank you. Then that would be me doing an irresponsible. I would be acting irresponsibly if that were the case. But other than that, I don't really think that you can make a irresponsible video without doing that, or at least I don't personally think so.
For me, I think like obviously that part, yeah. I think fear mongering also would come onto that for me, like blowing up a problem that doesn't really need to have this much attention, or basically blowing up a problem out of proportion and then putting that out for the public to see, because people don't do research. People don't look at brain.
So like,
So yeah, I think that.
no, you could go. Sorry, my bad.
No, that's basically it. I just think that fear mongering would also come under that.
I think that the issue with fear mongering is you don't know whether or not the person believes it. Because if I let's say I'm here and I'm like let's say like instead of me telling everyone to go harass Alan, instead I say I think that Alan's impact on the TF2 community is largely negative, and he's damaging to our community on a major level, and it was incredibly. He's a problem, and it I think until I say something along the lines, even if I'm not even sure if I'd go that far, if I said something to the effect of it would be better if Alan were not. We're not a part of the community, I still don't think that's necessarily irresponsible. I think that at that point, if I were to say directly, we should get Alan, I want Alan out of the TF2 community, that's probably the point where I'd say it crosses over to being irresponsible. Because I don't know, if I genuinely am terrified of Alan, or I genuinely do believe that Alan is having a largely negative effect on the TF2 community, and I say that, I don't think that I think it is perfectly fine for me to say that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Sorry, you can go, Alan.
What is irresponsibility in your eyes then?
I think what is usually cited is the idea that you have control over something and you are using that control in a way that is you are not taking proper consideration of the control that you have in a way that is. I'm trying. It's hard to make a definition for this on the spot because I didn't think about it. But
I hear you.
like you are not taking into proper consideration the control you have when taking an action of some kind. That's probably what I would say.
Right. So I leave the bouncy ball out and don't put it back after I'm done playing with it, and then somebody trips and falls. I was irresponsible.
I might say negligent. I'm not. I guess yeah. I guess I'd agree you were irresponsible then.
Even if I had no intent whatsoever of causing anyone harm.
Well, that's the thing, right? When it comes to making like art, right? I think the intent certainly matters when you're trying to consider whether or not, because to this someone in chat, Curbtastic in chat said any disinformation is irresponsible, and misinformation and disinformation are two very different things. Because disinformation is misinformation that is spread intentionally, and to that end, I might agree that disinformation is irresponsible widely, but I don't think that I'm not necessarily. I don't think misinformation, or like if I believe something to be true and I happen to be wrong, then I don't think that is irresponsible necessarily.
If you knowingly spread information that you know to be false, that's bad.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think I agree.
Do you have anything further to say before we hear the Uncle Dane's thoughts?
Nah, I think we should jump right into it.
All right.
Just jump right into it, guys. Hey,
All right.
you hit that subscribe button.
Um, okay, let's get right here. I'm going to let you guys know how Watch Together works, right? You can just hit the pause button if you have something to say, if you feel like something's worth commenting on. Let's hear what the funny engineer man has to say.
Over exaggerate the issue of TF2's cosmetics ruining the art style of the game. Yes, I agree. I tend to believe that the over exaggeration of the importance of the subject can be traced back to these two videos. Both of these videos bring up interesting points, but
these are the two videos we're going to discuss today, for the record. We're not watching all of the ZestyJesus video, just a brief portion that I feel is what Uncle Dane is probably referring to when he calls that video irresponsible. So, just clarification.
Roger.
Rolling back a little bit so we get the full thing.
Marathon stream, let's go.
I don't want to get him out of context. That's the only thing. I'm trying to be as good faith as possible.
and I think that's valuable. Some people severely over exaggerate the issue of TF2's cosmetics ruining the art style of the game. Yes, I agree. I tend to believe that the over exaggeration of the importance of the subject can be traced back to these two videos. Both of these videos bring up interesting points, but I also think that they were irresponsibly constructed, and viewers have taken these points and blown them up to be way bigger deals than they actually are. And
you guys, any thoughts so far?
So the argument was irresponsibly constructed?
Yeah. So like the videos were made, and they were made irresponsibly, and also people have taken the issue and over exaggerated it. I know that Alan doesn't play much TF2. Angel, do you want to give your thoughts on the idea that like the art style stuff, or do you not care so much?
I have not heard a single person care about it until the videos came out, and even afterwards, I haven't seen people care about it. I'm sure they have cared about it, and I've just like
Do you care? I guess would be a good.
Not at all. I really have. With TF2, their team recognition is very good, and that's basically all I care about. The art style being the quote-unquote death of the art style is important, I guess, but just not to me.
Do you think it's like it could be a problem with the game? I guess like objectively.
I, what do you mean by that?
So like
Problem
I guess
with the game?
I'll ask you like an adjacent question. Hold on. I have been the room has been intruded.
Timing.
uh, so the question here, I'll ask this question, then I'll mute for a bit. But do you think that if you took Half-Life and you added like there was a character in Half-Life that was just like the model of model was just like Super Mario Galaxy Mario? Do you think that that would negatively impact the art style or the tone of the game in any way?
This is really funny because I play Sven co-op. Where everyone's fucking.
Where you can have any model.
Super Mario. Yes, you can have any model.
See,
I played
yeah,
this
but
Hatsune
Sven
Miku
well,
once.
Sven co-op is just the story, right?
Multiple things. It's like any map that you could have played in Half-Life, basically, but
Yeah, it's like
multiplayer.
deathmatch. You can actually like co-op the story if you wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah. If it was an actual NPC who was just Mario, like literally just Mario, speaking to Gordon Freeman, I do think that would take away from the vibes. Yeah.
So
From
so yeah, like so I think that's when people talk about the death of TF2's art style, that's mostly what they're referring to. They're referring to the idea that like you add a bunch of things into the game and slowly that begins to look like Mario is in Half-Life. And now granted the line between where that begins to happen and where it doesn't is a bit blurry. But I know that in the ZestyJesus portion of this stream, we're going to hear him make the argument that there are various things that interfere with gameplay, which I think that's probably a pretty solid place to start in terms of things being an issue.
Yeah, those are the most egregious ones. I forget what class it was, but a long time ago there was like maybe it might have been the spy's jacket where you could just like 80% of your player model was the opposite color.
There was I know this is going to come up later, but there was a workshop artist who made a cosmetic, and that cosmetic gave like medic's coat but to engineer, and like it was white. So it made it incredibly difficult to identify engineer as engineer, and because you'd get it mixed up for medic. And then when the workshop artist was called out for that, they basically threw up their hands and were like, "Oh, what a stupid thing to say." And and I think that's a kind of ignorant. I think that's probably where I would draw the line, is when it comes to gameplay.
Sounds like a skill issue. That's like the trick where they say, okay, read what the text says, but then they make the text is pink, but the color of the text is orange,
Yeah.
and the background is like bright green.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is this?
Yeah, what does this mean? Like, I think that I know from like experience that there are cosmetics that certainly make class like sniper more difficult to play. Like because where the head is complicated. Like for instance, like the cosmetic of Scout holding himself.
Or something like
Yeah,
that.
like that cosmetic is something. That not only is it I don't think it's a well designed cosmetic from like an artistic perspective, but even if we don't go there, I think it's that cosmetic is like like the character has two heads, you know, like especially if you take it from the perspective of someone who has never played or seen TF2 before, like asking them to try and judge what that is like how are you supposed to?
Does it literally give them two heads?
No, but like the other
Yes.
head is not a hitbox, but and like that part of the body isn't a hitbox. Like hold on, let me
But
see
it
if I can.
visually
Yeah, can we
is
get
just
a visual aid?
Hold on, let me
I haven't seen this
grab
cosmetic.
let me grab
You have to keep in
And,
mind, my
if you-
like 700 hours of TF2 are over 10 years ago now. So
hold on.
like if you use your brain, you'd actually shoot the wrong head.
Yeah. Like this one. It's on screen. It's like,
Thank God it's Halloween limited, right?
yeah, it is. But
Okay.
I remember this was like one of the go-to, like, this is not good, right? Like,
Well, oh, if you use your brain.
yeah, if you use your
I
brain,
see.
it's like,
Yeah.
If you-
it's like, yeah, like I think that this cosmetic is probably under the category of
Yeah.
cosmetics that would interfere with gameplay.
It's one of those egregious examples.
Yeah, definitely a more egregious example. And we'll see more as our journey continues today. Yeah, are we good to continue pressing
Yeah,
on?
what I was gonna say.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I kind of already said it, but yeah, last time I played TF2, I was like a year or two before this funk video, so
Oh,
the
damn.
last time I seriously played.
You've seen this funk video, right?
I probably saw it like a long time ago.
I saw part of it when it came out. I have not seen it since. I'm actually going into the funk video specifically blind because I didn't really want to. I didn't want to have my arguments prepared for that because I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
So I don't think we will need to defend it too hard.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah, we can press on.
if you guys don't know funk, which you definitely do, go check out funk.
Yeah, funk's
Classic.
so good.
He keeps setting the bar higher and higher. He's gonna be unable to make a video soon, I think.
Yeah, he's like one of those creators that's just so good at making content that it's kind of like impossible to surpass him because he's so good. Yeah.
He's so fast too.
Yeah, it's wild, and he only gets better with every video. It's crazy.
Both of these videos bring up interesting points, but I also think that they were irresponsibly constructed, and viewers have taken these points and blown them up to be way bigger deals than they actually are. And hey, I've made my fair share of irresponsibly constructed videos in the past. It's part of the growth process as a creator, right? But
I wanted to ask you guys I guess this is more of an Angel question specifically, but what videos do you think he's referring to?
Oh, hold on. Let me open the catalog.
Because I don't know what he's talking about. Like I genuinely don't have any clue what videos he's referring to. I also think it's kind of like, dare I say, passive aggressive to be like, it's part of the growth process.
And
Especially
I've done it in the past.
yeah,
have I noted that I'm further along in the YouTuber evolution,
yeah,
like
than funk.
hierarchy than you are?
Like it's such a
To be fair, it's like saying I am further along the progression than funk was 6 years ago. But even still, kind of.
yeah, it's such a, but it's like a strange thing to, like, I don't, especially if you're saying irresponsibly made in reference to like you weaponized your audience, you know what I mean? Like if that's what he's saying, then I'm like, no, it's not. It's not part of the YouTuber growth process to be like, oh, I said this thing, and now my audience is harassing this person. This is like this happens to every YouTuber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that that's true. And certainly if it is true, guys, people in chat, I'm sorry for weaponizing all of you. Don't, for what it's worth, don't attack these people who are much bigger than me and have been doing this for much longer.
Yeah.
This is not the point of today's stream. Today's stream is about having an educated and very cool, very cool discussion.
The only call to action in this video is subscribing to Funk and the Lucid Letters.
ZestyJesus' workshop. I don't. Person in chat said, Squidacy in chat said, ZestyJesus' workshop reviews are what he's talking about.
Well,
He literally,
write it down.
he explicitly isn't, because he said he referred to his video. We can just, so I'm making sure.
that they were irresponsible.
I think the most
Cosmetics
irresponsible video Uncle Dane
cosmetics
has made is Uber the engineer. That's it. Okay.
That is a direct call to action.
Ruining the
That is
art
the
style
good.
of the game. Yes, I agree.
I'm pretty sure
I
he
tend to
just
believe
says
that the over-exaggeration of the importance of the subject can be traced back to.
Yeah, he's referring specifically to ZestyJesus' videos. His workshop review. This is not one of his workshop reviews. This is a video about TF2's art style, which is the point of the thing he's talking about. So I don't think that that's correct, Squidacy.
made my fair share of irresponsibly constructed videos in the past. It's part of the growth process as a creator, right? But in the end, there is only so much that can be done about how people will interpret your work. I think that there are two things.
You guys wanna address that one as well?
What's that?
There's
only so much that can be done.
There's only so much. So
That's just true.
yeah, no, I agree, right? But here's my thing: how can if there's only so much that can be done, how can you make something irresponsible? How are these videos irresponsible?
Well, clearly he does think there is a limit as to what can be done, but that the people who made those videos did not reach that limit or did not get close enough to it to prove that they made a sufficient effort, I should say.
That's the thing.
Is his argument.
I think I agree, but like he's not elaborating, which frustrates me because when you say something so like blatant as these videos were made irresponsibly, but a lot of all people make irresponsible videos all the time, but there's only so much that can be done about making irresponsible videos. So it's like, how do you get from the 1 to the 2 to the 3? You know, like I feel like a lot of those sentences that I just said contradict one another in a lot of ways. Like I don't know how fair it is to say that like there's only so much that can be done, yet these videos are irresponsibly made. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
At that point, how are they irresponsible when, you know, when there's only so much that can be done? I don't know.
I'm hoping that's what he's gonna get into.
Hopefully.
Things to take away from this, though, and that is an absence of real discussions has definitely brought us to the point of arguing over something as boring as team recognition. And
Oof.
An absence of what? Like real things to talk about?
Yeah, that's his point. Okay, so what he's
As
saying.
boring as being able to tell who's on which team.
So
like the game functioning.
yeah, well, this is the thing. He's specifically talking about Zesty's video here. He's not. I don't think he's talking necessarily about Funk's video, at least because I think Zesty's is more about team recognition. I don't think I'm gonna go out on a limb. I don't think team recognition, like art from an artistic perspective, is uninteresting at all. I think it's really interesting to look, and I think, for the record, I don't know if this is controversial, I think Zesty's video is really good, especially the first half. I think that Zesty does a great job at making that topic incredibly interesting to talk about. So I think that this also flies in the face of the idea that like you can talk about something at length regardless of like if there's something new to say about it. Like we've been talking about like I don't know, we've been talking about like a bunch of different things for a really long time and they haven't changed. Like history is the entire concept of history is like this thing happened and people still talk about like what were the actual causes of World War I, for instance. Like there was like the obvious one, but then there are a lot of other things that led to World War I happening. It's like there's a lot of things that I think is wrong with what he just said. You know, he will also say in this video, which I'm not going to show, but he says in this video that there is a large amount of things in TF2 that haven't been talked about yet. So that sounds contradictory to me.
I agree.
I think
it feels like I disagree with this, and therefore it's not interesting. Is my rationale for why it shouldn't be talked about?
I think that,
but I also don't know the guy, so
well,
can't really.
Well, you have to take him on. Like, if you were to be here right now and he was just to be like, yeah, I don't think that, no, he was like, no, I didn't mean that at all. We would just be like, oh, well, that's what it sounded like you meant. You know?
Yeah, which is fair, and maybe he doesn't actually mean that.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does.
It doesn't, you know?
It's just that it certainly sounds like he's saying something to the effect of there's no way you could make team recognition interesting. He's also indirectly calling Zesty's video boring, which I think is unfortunate.
Yeah, but team recognition doesn't need to be made interesting. It is like an interesting thing. Like that's a game designer's job, is to make the teams recognizable.
Well, whether or not you find team recognition interesting at all is subjective, so it doesn't even make a difference. Like,
fair enough. I find it interesting.
I also find it really interesting. Like a lot of games, and Zesty's video makes this point, but a lot of games suck at it. So it's like the TF2 has a really good way of making the teams recognizable. And Zesty points out that Overwatch literally just has like static like the colored outlines to make people stand out, and it's like gross because it can become.
I think that's a fine solution as well, personally.
I think it's like the bare minimum, but I think it can become nauseating when you look at like so many.
The character designs in TF2, it's basically this guy has red overalls, this guy has blue overalls. I feel like if you put it to an outline, it becomes more of the outline tells you what team the character is on, but the character, you have more, I guess the designers have more freedom in designing the character to look a certain way that way.
Yeah, like in it's sort of the like in Overwatch you have a bunch of characters that all look vastly different from each other. And so you kind of have to find another way to make those characters look distinct on different teams. But at the same time, I feel like there probably could have been a better solution. I just don't know what it would have been.
Maybe you can take the battlefield. I put a Dorito over your head.
Yeah,
I think is the worst option.
I think it's also pretty bad. But yeah,
but that's something both games do really well. Even within a team, you can tell who the characters are, and you know their moves just by the silhouette. You don't need any other details.
I
think that's the mark of a well designed character or roster of characters.
I agree. Zesty's video also makes the point, I believe, that with the parts of the character that are most visible on immediate glance are the parts that are colored. So that way it is immediately apparent what team they're on, like the second you look at them, which I think is a good point, and I think it's pretty accurate if you look at like the examples he gives. It's a really good video. I'm showing a little bit of my hand here, but it's really good, well constructed video. I don't know. Like I said, we'll get to the part that I feel like Uncle Dane's referring to, but yeah, we'll get there. Angel, do you have thoughts on this? Angel?
You guys pretty much said everything I want, everything I also think.
All right.
I do want to add though, for me, my experience with TF2, I don't think I've ever had problems with team recognition, and that the not playing sniper or stuff like that has a little bit to do with it. I think.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't think I could point to one, not even like one instance where I can be like, yep, this wouldn't have happened if the team recognition was better in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that with I think that like Uncle Dane is kind of in the same camp where he thinks that, or I'm basing this off of what he said here. I think he's generally of the opinion that it's blown out of proportion because it doesn't matter like most of the time, but the other side says, well, it matters that like 2, 3, 4% of the time, and it will continue to, that percent will continue to grow if this problem isn't addressed, because new cosmetics get added to the game every year, and it's like that problem will only begin to increase the more. So it's sort of like a this is like a tumor, and or that's how they see it. It's like a tumor, and it's like spreading, and we need to stop it. That's why once again, kind of showing my hand. Zesty's video has a call to action in it that we'll get to. We'll get to whether or not it's potentially irresponsible what he says, because I think that there will be a discussion there. But for now, we can press on with finishing up what Uncle Dane has to say.
And as I've said before, stop worshiping YouTubers. The devs.
That's it. I think that I think that stop worshiping YouTubers contradicts the idea that it's irresponsible, but we'll get there.
I don't think it necessarily contradicts, but
I think that I guess not contradicts, but I think it like flies in the face of the whole. Like if you like, I agree that you should stop worshiping YouTubers, but because you should stop worshiping YouTubers, when a YouTuber makes a video and people do bad things because of it, that's not the YouTuber's fault.
I don't think that's what he's saying either. I think what he's saying is that these people are seeing this one person say this thing about this game, and then they go out and they say, well, the YouTuber that I worship says to do this, or didn't even say to do that, just like pointed out a thing that exists within the game.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm going to do a bad thing X. And I think he's saying you shouldn't be worshiping these people anyway. They're just people giving their own opinion, which I agree with.
I also agree.
So I don't think it really contradicts, but
sure. I guess I could agree. I wanted to I guess to ask you guys, have either of you in any game, TF2 or otherwise, ever had the cosmetics of that game, like ever had the cosmetics of that game hamper your recognition of whose team is on who, or like just in general been confusing?
Yes, but I will want to let Angel go first.
I don't play many games, man.
I see.
Has it happened to you in TF2?
Skins
And how about in real life?
In real life, yes. Everyone wearing clothes scares me. Go inside.
What's up with all these cosmetics in IRL?
Yeah.
Everyone take your clothes off.
I went to one time I went to
This is not a call to action.
Everyone right now. Everyone immediately. There is no meme. Take off your clothes. I remember I went to Comic-Con one time and I was having a real hard time with team recognition. There was just a lot of like people, and some of them were wearing like normal people clothes, and some of them looked like Chun-Li, and I was really confused.
Who's friend, who's foe?
Yeah, and who do I know personally, and who do I know personally and don't want to see. Yeah.
Which one of these Chun-Li cosplayers is my bully from school?
Yeah. Which one? Imagine just picturing like Buford from Phineas and Ferb, but he's dressed up like Chun-Li. Yeah. I think that I know in Overwatch on multiple occasions the outlines have fucked me up really bad. Because like when you're moving really quickly, it's very difficult to, like, the outline isn't immediately apparent because every character has in outline, so it's a little bit difficult to see like on immediate glance what character is what. I know a lot of people fix that by changing the colors for different things, and that helps a little bit, but generally I feel like the outlines makes it a little bit more difficult for me, and there have been multiple times where I've like looked at a Sombra and there's been a Sombra on my team and been like, oh, that's no one to be concerned with, and then I turn around and it's like, oh no, that guy was the enemy and now I'm dead.
Yeah, that never really happens to me. I can understand how it could.
Oh well, look
maybe
at
it's
you.
because I'm usually support, and as support you have to have more of like a game sense of where everyone is currently. So I just know where the allies are without thinking about it, maybe. Sorry, if you want to respond to that,
No. Yeah, you go. I have a thought. I have a thought based on something someone else said.
My example for when can cosmetics be confusing is, I think it's not such a problem in Overwatch really because the roster is so small, but like League, you get in League of Legends, and there's like 100 characters plus probably.
Yeah. I've heard that it's pretty bad.
There's a character that is usually a robot, but then like a skin will turn him into not a robot.
Yeah.
And unless you know, like some of the character designs are distinct enough that you can know kind of by like the outline or the silhouette trick. But it's like the whole color scheme changes, like their attack style. Well, not, like the animations on their attack might even change, so it can get confusing unless you it makes it hard to pick up the game as well because it's not as intuitive to know, oh, that character with that outline and this color scheme does this. You have to memorize the name and then, oh, that's that character, even though it didn't look like it at all, you know?
I remember, this is like a little bit more niche, but I played team-based Super Smash Brothers once. And that was a nightmare because of the outlines, because like in that game characters move so quickly. Like how are you going to tell whether or not Sonic is on the blue team? How do you know? You don't is the answer.
He's too fast.
He always
has a need for speed.
And he's blue. So he always looks like he's on the blue team. In the older Smash games, in Melee, Brawl, and 64, they had where the teams had to be colors for the skins associated with that. Once they hit Smash 4 and there were just too many characters, they just threw it out. And I felt like that was kind of a hit to team recognition overall.
It's literally called the blue blur. How is he on red team?
Yeah, how is he on red team? I don't understand. And you know, you might say that that's good because it allows them to have more different kinds of skins. They don't have to be like, oh, this is the red skin, the blue skin, the yellow skin. But I don't know. It's kind of upsetting.
But in Smash, each character has like 7 skins, so like one of them is probably red enough to be the red skin.
Yeah, that's how it was in Brawl, like because the colors are so much more muted. It's almost like TF2 in that way. But yeah, I think that team recognition is certainly something worth being criticized. Also, I wanted to cover something Indy said in chat regarding Uncle Dane's like perspective, because I thought it was interesting. Indy said, in my opinion, it looks to me as if it came from a place of being jaded. Dane mostly ever covered weapons. I don't know what that means. Mostly
only covered weapons?
Mostly, I'm assuming, yeah, mostly only covered weapons and gameplay things when his niche dried up. He finds people who discuss things as people who cover uninteresting topics. He finds people who discuss other things as people who cover quote unquote uninteresting topics. Now here's the thing, right? I wish I had a timestamp because I would like cut to it. I know in this video that he says like the opposite of what you just said, where he says like there are so actually let me go find it. I'm gonna go find it because it's relevant enough to this discussion that I'm gonna go find it. You guys talk about something.
How's the weather, Angel?
It's getting colder.
Really? Aren't you like on the equator?
Yeah, okay. Colder is like a relative. It's still
Yeah,
like
it's
28
what, it's dropped like
Celsius
5
at
degrees
lowest.
from 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It's still 38.
5 degrees in my head is a lot.
I hear you. Yeah. What is it here? What is it here in Celsius? 9. It's 9 right now.
Oh my good Jesus. Huh?
You would freeze to death. You would turn to a block of ice.
I would turn into fuck. It's hold on, let me check my Celsius. It's got like a temperature 23 Celsius here.
Yeah, that's like big a chillin'.
At highest we go to like, okay, the highest is like fucking 39.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I went to school in South Florida, which is it's a swamp, and you get like maybe a week and a half of winter, and the winter it gets down to maybe 15 Celsius. So
I found the clip that I was looking for.
Let me finish real quick.
Oh, okay.
If it's a particularly cold week and a half winter, you'll get the iguanas freezing to death in the trees, and it starts raining iguanas.
What?
A funny South Florida tidbit.
Is that real?
That's real.
Any Florida people in chat can confirm raining iguanas. You guys know about the you guys know about the fish storm? There was once a storm that was like fish, and it was because a plane carrying like loads of fish. It like felt like the thing in the cargo bay that drops open. It fell open by accident, and fish just came out, and it rained over like Arkansas or something. It was like one of those states no one lives in.
Like Nebraska?
Yeah, one of those. It might be Nebraska actually. It's like or Montana or something. But yeah.
Okay, according to my friend who's also watching it was 19 Celsius yesterday. So
Nice. Very cool.
That's your...
According to my friend who is watching, he said that I'm correct about the rainy iguanas. So
Hey, can someone in chat vouch for me and be my friend so I don't feel left out?
According to my other friend who's also watching, they say that iguanas are cool.
Nice. I'm glad to hear it.
they're all right.
Yeah, so here's I wanted to show this. I want to show this. This is what I was referring to you.
Moss Rock guy, but Egypt,
Ignore this part.
Yeah, that's pretty mid. 90% of good ideas for TF2 content have yet to be done. Maybe 95%. Anyone who says there's nothing left to talk about, everything's been done already, aren't thinking hard enough. I completely agree.
Like,
Completely agrees.
like I feel like that's almost damn. Like, how is it like? Oh, there's been such a lack of discussion. We're talking about team recognition. It's just like I completely agree. We haven't scratched the surface of what to be done here.
I don't know. The only way I can read it is, there's so many things that we could be discussing, and you picked the one thing that I find uninteresting because I don't like the effect that it's having on the community.
I love the idea that he's like, yeah, we could talk about anything except that. Fuck that in particular.
I don't want to be uncharitable either, but
I don't think that's particularly uncharitable. That seems to just be. If I was being entirely good faith, I just didn't think I think he just contradicted himself and didn't realize it, which is fine. That happens.
yeah, no, that doesn't like, it's not an indictment of character or anything.
No, yeah, not at all.
I know I've done that.
I forget what he continues to say.
I mean, I'm making videos on this channel for almost a decade and almost exclusively about only one of the 9 classes in the game, and I still have like a 2-page long list of video ideas that grows way faster than I can make them. To be honest, not enough people are like stealing ideas from each other. Like, just because somebody already did an idea, it doesn't mean that it's off limits for you to do it.
You guys wanna give your input on that?
You guys should all steal this idea and go start your own podcast.
I also
All
wait.
with the
Okay.
acronym UFR.
I have a thing I'm gonna add to this actually because I happen to know about something that came from this statement. That I think is pretty humorous. Hold on. I'm just gonna.
I think it's raining fish in the chat right now.
It is raining fish in the chat. It's
just me?
literally Florida in the chat.
I timed you out once a while ago for this specific thing. Stop doing that.
No fun allowed.
No fun allowed.
No fun allowed.
ZestyJesus said, "Alright, since Dane gave the TF2 community the green light to reuse ideas, comment with your TF2 related hot takes and I'll make a video reacting / rating them on the ZestyJesus zestiness scale."
It's pretty good. That's a pretty good post.
I think it's a pretty good meme. But yeah, I just wanted to share because I thought it was relevant enough to be included. Also, thank you, Indy. I agree with myself. Shout out to you. Yeah, I think that if I had to guess, he's just probably contradicted himself by accident, and that's fine. Also, I feel like the way he, I agree. I feel like the way this is worded is really funny. Like, we aren't stealing each other's ideas enough. That's why 95, because I don't even think that's what Zesty, or not Zesty, the tweet, what the fuck was the dude's name? Hold on, let me roll it back so I can actually like read what he wrote. Yeah, I don't think that's what Wheezy here is saying. I don't think Wheezy's like, we should steal each other's ideas more. I think it's like the good ideas.
Be more creative.
Yeah, I thought the other was gonna say. I think the inverse is what Wheezy's saying, which I think is like fascinating. That's what Uncle Dane took from this, but you know, kind of strange.
I mean, I understand his like underlying the thing he's saying, but the way he said it was just. I feel like we should steal each other's ideas.
I feel like we should be unoriginal. Thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah, but like, in a sense, we're like taking inspiration, and in that sense, yeah, I really like when people take inspiration from things and do things.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that inspiration's pretty cool. I think that the best ideas are constructions of other ideas and influences. Also, it's raining iguanas in the chat.
Yeah,
But
baby.
damn it, not again.
It's a Florida moment.
This is really a Florida moment. Can we get some Florida in the chat? But yeah, let's carry on. I think let's see what else he has to say.
Stealing ideas from each other, like just because somebody already did an idea doesn't mean that it's off limits for you to do it. I mean, the concept of this video, it certainly isn't original, and you're still watching it because I'm putting my own perspective into it. There's really not much of an excuse there, you know? And if you get mad that somebody stole your idea for a video and they made their own video out of your idea, then like you don't get it.
I just like
Phrasing. Phrasing.
he sounds
Well-
really passive aggressive, and
Yeah, it
and
just sounds like. Ooh, I've been doing this for 10 years now. Everything you say is invalid. I am God.
he sounds yeah.
Stop worshipping me, by the way. Worshipping me.
I just think that like if like obviously the concept for this stream isn't original, right? Like I have heavy inspiration from other places, but like if because my videos are heavily inspired by Emperor Lemon. If Emperor Lemon messaged me and was like, "Dude, you stole my format," and he has every right to be upset about that. Like I didn't, for the record, but if he does think that, that's like fine. Like Uncle Dane's over here, like Uncle Dane would be the third person in that room, being like, "I can't believe he said that to you. How dare he be upset?" like what? He could be upset all he wants. Because I think that I like I'm not saying, by the way, that like everyone has I don't think everyone has like the I don't think everyone has the like ownership over their idea for a video. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if someone took this stream and then just like they remade the entire layout and then they did a reaction to the same set of videos that we're doing today, I don't think that like I'm not gonna I would be miffed. I'd be a little bit miffed. And I have every right to feel that way. I don't think that makes me any less of a YouTuber or makes me understand YouTube any less if I believe that. Or if I feel bad about it.
I agree, but at the same time, it's not. I don't know. It depends on how egregious it is.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know,
I think the concept of reviewing hot takes is not. It's that's like one of the oldest things in YouTube, probably. Like if I had to guess, I imagine it's a relatively old concept for a thing. Which is fine. I don't know why Uncle Dane's sitting here like implying that your feelings are invalid if you get upset because someone took your idea for a video and made their own video with it, you know? I don't think that I don't think that that's fair, and I think he just sounds really petty for no reason. I'm not sure why. He doesn't normally sound like this. Like that's what people in chat are saying. That's what I thought. He sounds really weird. Like he doesn't sound like himself when he's saying things like this, you know?
Yeah, it's like normally he's so inclusive and like, hey, everyone should enjoy this game and whatnot. Now it's like you just don't get it.
You just don't understand being a YouTuber. Like
You don't get to 770 something thousand subscribers without making some enemies.
He's like the dude from American Psycho. Like that's how he views YouTube. Also, Angel, you could.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mike
so
is
Yeah, is there like did someone start mowing their lawn?
He turned on his white noise
sorry, hold
generator.
on. Double, but did it go? Hold on, let me mute.
Okay.
White noise time.
It's white noise break.
Honey,
Um.
time for your white noise.
Also, Lesser in chat said it's not about feelings but actions. I wanted to roll him back just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure he said the word feel, and he's referencing if you get upset about people taking your videos, or taking your ideas for videos. Yeah.
Video, it certainly isn't original, and you're still watching it because I'm putting my own perspective into it. There's really not much of an excuse there, you know? And if you get mad that somebody stole your idea for a video and they made their own video out of your idea, then like you don't get it.
Yeah, he's saying if you get angry. You don't even necessarily he's not even necessarily saying that like if you like
I'm gonna DMCA strike you. I'll get copy struck.
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, he says if you get mad, like you don't even necessarily have to express to other people. Like if you're just upset, you know, in any way that someone took your video and made their own video with your idea, like
you just don't get it.
You just don't get it. Like you don't understand. Like I think that's if someone were to take any of my video ideas and they were to make their own videos with them that were just, especially if they were like very similar to my videos or my format, I would be upset. I would certainly be like frustrated. There have been times where streamers, when I was on Twitch, there were times where Twitch streamers who I would raid would see what I was doing and then do what I was doing with their much bigger audience, and as a result my stream would do less well. That's frustrating. Like, and I don't think I'm less of a streamer or anything to that effect for getting upset at that. That sounds perfectly fair. That's another thing if you like act on it, to be clear. Like if I were to be like, yeah, if I were like to DMCA strike that person, that'd be another thing. What do you think, Angel?
Hey man.
What happened with what was the white noise? What was going on
I
there?
have absolutely no clue. I slapped my laptop and it worked.
Nice.
Oldest trick
If
in
it
the book.
ain't broke,
If it ain't broke, fix it.
break it.
Don't get it. The TF2
Wait, everything. You cited a different video. I'm sorry. Hold on.
mad that somebody stole your idea for a video and they made their own video out of your idea, then like you don't get it. Like you just
Everything is a remix. Have either of you seen this video?
Which one's that?
I've seen similar videos, I think. Like I'm pretty sure that's like an all art is a derivative of other art.
Well, that's not the
thing, right?
that's not the point he made.
I feel like that's exactly what the video he's showing. Like everything is a remix.
No,
It's very.
Yeah, I'm saying that like I don't think that's not what he said. Like what like this video, if that is what the point that this video is making, then that is not what that's not what Angel said. Or that's not what Uncle Dane said. That's not what Mr. Dane over here. That's not what Mr. Uncle said. Like he made an entirely different point about getting mad because other people steal your ideas.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I feel like there's a difference between quote unquote stealing and like taking inspiration, crediting the person who you got inspiration from, stuff like that.
I agree. And if Uncle Dane had not used the word stealing, I would not be using the word stealing either.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Also, just shout out. Just because we're here, shout out to all the people in chat. You guys are all cool. It's good to see you all here. But yeah, I think that we've covered in detail Uncle Dane, and we've strayed a little bit off track, but we're still here. We covered like a good 2 minutes maybe of footage. It has taken us an hour. I think that's a pretty good ratio, all things considered.
See daisy.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna move on to ZestyJesus, one of these quote unquote irresponsibly made YouTube videos. And we're gonna talk about what I personally feel after watching the video, is the video that he, or is the portion of the video that might be quote unquote irresponsible. So we're gonna grab that real quick. Let me grab my timestamp.
Does the stealing ideas thing count as a call to action? And is that responsible?
We should steal each other's ideas more as irresponsible. I agree. I genuinely think that you could probably make the argument based off of what, if it, I might,
like, using
we
his own
will
logic. I think we could make.
we should hold on. I actually like that question. We should, if we should determine like whether or not that and this are equivalent or or at the very least close to each other, because I feel like they might be. I don't know. Let's get there. I believe it's 22:28. Is everyone in the? Hold on. Okay, is everyone in the right place?
Probably.
22:27.
Black and white.
Yeah. Okay, we're good. Let's go.
Item like this is appropriate for the game. My God, what the fuck are you doing? On a serious note, what bothers me is that some, not all, but some of the more prevalent workshop creators, many with multiple items in TF2, continue to make items like this, for example, and
So this was the example I alluded to earlier. You guys like? You guys want to give thoughts on this?
Looks a little.
It's a little medical.
It's a little medic adjacent.
Let me hold on. Well, hold on. Let me. I
mean-
want to do something for the viewers at home, real quick.
He doesn't have the
Side by side.
backpack or anything though.
I feel like when you're like in the middle of a scuffle, right? You're not, when you see a white blob jumping around, you're going to immediately assume it's a medic.
You guys keep talking. I'm grabbing a reference image real quick.
Yeah, and that's I don't know. I don't really get why they did the like weird symbol on the armband either. They could have easily put the engineer symbol there too, where it usually is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess like the yellow is very distinct to the engineer, like the hard hat and the gloves. But even still, white is like medic's thing.
Oh, I fucked up the thing I was trying to do. It's fine.
I hear you.
Yeah, I think that this is pretty egregious as far as damaging team recognition is concerned. I would cite this as probably an issue. Because each of the classes in this makes this point earlier in the video, but each of the classes have their own distinct like things that are exclusive to them, and colors are a large part of that. It means something that only Spy has that particular shade of red because it's more muted, or only Medic has this coat that's white. You know, only Engineer has the yellow hard hat and the glove. Now granted that can be changed with other things, but still, this is like, it's pretty bad. You know?
It's pretty bad now that I'm looking at a picture of the medic.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up a picture of the medic to get a comparison, but it ain't good, that's for sure. But yeah.
then openly mock anyone that
I want to just pause right here. This is real. This is the creator of the engineer cosmetic laughing at someone who
Made a very valid.
made a very reasonable, not even like overly angry, just like
Like, here's my thoughts.
yeah, like the color is not going to work. It's gonna get confused for the medic. You're just like, this is so funny. Imagine no one would make that mistake.
Spelling mistake detected. Commenter loses.
Yeah,
It goes kind of hard though.
he spelled gonna wrong, which is already a fake word.
Fake word, huh?
Yeah,
Want to
fake.
get into
It's like a
linguistic
music
prescriptivism in this podcast?
I decide what the words are. Here, hold on. Let me get a third opinion. Hey, Marcel, is gonna a word? Like Gonna?
Gonna say yeah.
What do you mean by is it a word?
Is it a word? Yes or no?
In the dictionary.
No, I'm asking, is it a word?
It's a word that exists.
Come on, Creek.
It's a word. What did you say?
It's a word that exists and that people use.
Okay, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Marcel said it's a word that exists. We're just gonna move on.
Certainly is.
Outnumbered 3-1 in a 3-person panel.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Doubt how they would negatively impact gameplay. To me, that's pretty fucked up. These are the people that make most of the items for TF2, that Valve returns to on a regular basis. They know that their work has a very high chance of being accepted, and they scoff at the notion of taking care of the game.
I think that's pretty airtight. Like what he said. I mean, do you guys have any thoughts?
I just think it's funny that he's making an argument for responsibility.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like
I thought that was a little interesting.
The workshop artists have responsibility to the game that they're making. I think it's more of a direct responsibility. I'm not sure if you're trying to say like a hypocrisy. You know what I mean? I think that it's not hypocritical because one has a very direct impact on the thing, and the other one does not. like a creator does not have direct influence over their audience. They have indirect influence based off what they say, but like what they say can influence the perspectives and thoughts on the people they talk to. But the people they talk to have free will.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, in this case, this is just like I put thing in the game.
But so a creator does have a responsibility to the community they're a part of, right?
I think a personal responsibility, sure, but I don't want it to get conflated for they are responsible for the actions of their audience.
I completely agree.
I do not think that's the case.
But like, you want the town you live in to do better, right? Because if the town does better, you do better.
Well, yeah, like you have responsibility in the sense that you are responsible for your channel and its growth, success, reputation, etc.
Right, but also what relationship that channel has with the community that it's a part of, right?
Sure, I just I don't think that's when most people say that videos like this are irresponsible, they're mostly referring to the actions that people take as a result of those videos. I feel. I don't think
yeah. What Dane, what the uncle said was it was irresponsibly formulated or whatever,
constructed.
And the people who watched it blew it out of proportion.
Yeah. So the implication being that it's not about like, oh, he has a responsibility to his community to make content that is good or, good natured. It's like he has a responsibility for his community and their actions, which I don't think is true. I think that's ridiculous. Unless, like I said, if he says, hey, you guys should go harass these people, which he, by the way, ZestyJesus explicitly says not to do that in this video. He takes very good care to make sure that he is not inciting people to do things like that. Yeah. So I think that it often gets conflated pretty badly.
Yeah, and that I'm not trying to conflate it.
No, I understand. I understand. It is a discussion worth having. Angel, you want to give your thoughts on like what's on screen, like the words?
Words on screen. Yeah, words on screen. Oh yeah, that. Hold on, I had a crisis of faith. I feel like, on the one hand, yeah, Valve also is an offender to this, but this does make it out to seem that you're doing it on purpose, like you actively thought about it, thought that maybe this will affect the gameplay in a negative manner, and still did it, in which case, like, what?
Well, this is just a stupid thing to say. Like, oh, the governing body did it bad, so I can do the bad too.
The government kills people.
Yeah. So I don't think that's how that should work. I don't think that's fair. If any,
hasn't heard about this game since I was playing it last 10 years ago.
be the change you want to see in the world, unnamed person. Like
Named author of 14 items in the game.
creator with 14 items in the game. Also, I wanted to say, in response, someone in Chris TCC, who, by the way, welcome to the stream, Chris. Chris said, the fact that you have to explicitly mention not to harass people is disgusting. People just can't behave nowadays. You gotta treat your audience like little kids. Keep whacking their fingers. I'm assuming it's wagging their fingers and saying, quote unquote, no to harassing others. I think that is not necessarily I don't think that's entirely because the audience themselves is bad. I think that Zesty specifically does this because he's accused of inciting harassment against workshop artists all the time.
He's learned to be overly safe, maybe.
Yeah, because I know I've followed him for enough time to know that he certainly is just constantly in a need to like no, don't do the thing. I know that you're not specifically talking about Zesty. I'm more just applying it to what we're currently watching. But I think that this is generally true. That a lot of creators, the reason why they tell their audience is to, the reason why they tell their audience is like, oh, don't go harass these people, is because they don't want to get caught out for it, because they get accused of it all the time, and you know it happens to a lot of people, and it shouldn't, but it does. Yeah, harassment bad. Thoughts?
I agree.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah, pretty bad.
My controversial take for the night.
Harassment isn't good.
God, imagine Uncle Dane making a response to this, and this is what he disagrees with.
He's like, if you get mad
we should
because
be harassing each other more.
if you get mad because someone harasses you, you just don't get it. You just don't get it.
Death threats, you just don't get it.
You just don't get it. Oh man, that's pretty good.
They laugh at you.
He didn't even do this person didn't even do the meme right. It's supposed to be the number 4. I'm so upset.
Yeah, he just like
he fucked up the meme.
Anatomically said 4.
He just don't.
Okay, bro.
Like, if you didn't know that he was referring to like the Twitch lingo meme thing, you could mistake this for just don't paint the forehead. And I just think that's funnier. If you don't like being harassed, that's a skill issue.
They mock you.
Oh, okay. Oh. This is a dumb... These are both dumb statements. Can we all agree, everyone in chat? Can we all 30 all 30
You're
plus
not
people?
part of our in-group, therefore your opinion doesn't matter. Even though we make the games, the items we make like 90% of the content nowadays for the game you play.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a relevant picture real quick for it'll be a funny.
The main demographic we're supplying these items to has no say over what we do.
What do you guys think of what I have on screen?
I don't see it yet.
I don't understand how YouTube works.
An echo chamber?
I fixed it.
An echo chambers.
I think that this is definitionally an echo chamber.
Yes.
Why would I ever listen to the opinions of people who are outside of my immediate circle?
A lovely, like, pretty much contemporary problem to this is like the AI art going into the same things and making things progressively shitter and more racist. It's echo chamber.
Literally, I just don't understand this perspective. This perspective dumb. This is a dumb thing that these people said. And I also like the idea that the person in the second message was convinced by the person in the first message. Like, oh wait, yeah. You're so right. Why do I care about the things other people say? Even when they may or may not have valid complaints. Why
Did they get rid of the voting system for putting items in the game, or that's
no, they do. It's just that this is a point that he makes in this video, but they basically choose from the same like 5 to or like 10 to 15 creators each time.
Gotcha.
And they haven't like changed it.
Yeah.
The players, and they're more than comfortable expressing just how little they care.
Oh boy. Like people making loadouts to throw off team recognition are also effective like for a couple of mission minutes. I don't entirely get why some folks do that to prove a point. Team recognition is important. Like, yeah, you think? What do you want me to do about it? What do you want the person? I make the cosmetics for the game. What do you want me? You want me to just? You want me to just do something else? What?
You want me to adjust the readability?
You want to?
No.
This would be like if you were like developing a game and there were accessibility options and you were like, okay, Alan, I need you to make the accessibility options for like colorblind people, and you were like, what? You're telling me they can't see? Like,
yeah, that's important. Like, yeah, you think?
yeah,
What do you
like,
want me to do?
like, what do you want me to do about it? What am I supposed to do? Like, like this is this is bad. This is not
Directly at fault?
huh? I could do something, but I'm not going to.
And for whoever wrote that in the Discord, I'm not trying to straw man you, and I don't think you would design items to the detriment of disabled
colorblind people. That's not what we said, but I really like the idea that that someone heard what we just said and went like, oh my gosh, they're thinking that they think that colorblind people should be able to play TF2. Like, that's what they took from what we said. We're a pro colorblind people podcast, okay? We love colorblind people.
Only colorblind people are allowed to watch.
Yeah, Dying, please.
I forgot what I was gonna say. I had something relevant to say. Oh, there were multiple people in response to my medic video that came out recently. You guys should watch that. Smile. There were multiple people who watched that video and thought that I was thought I was saying that people who play medics in video games are equivalent to Desmond Doss, the Medal of Honor recipient. Like, they're the same. So, you know.
He's literally me.
Hey guys, I'm a mercy main. Did I mention?
Someone legitimately said, like, I don't think I deserve the Medal of Honor for playing medic TF2.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
like what the fuck? I don't think so either. I never said that. Oh man, it's pretty bad.
You're literally like just saying, my god, Desmond Doss, he is a medic.
He's so cool.
He's so cool. I don't think I deserve the Medal of Honor.
Like,
if Desmond Doss came into chat and said that, yeah, fair.
I'm giving you... Desmond Doss gives you the Medal of Honor for playing medic in TF2 really well. It's like, yo, that crossbow was so sick. Here, just take it. Just take it. Just take it.
From me.
Just take it. I don't need it.
Yeah, I want mine in World War II. You can have it.
You're really good at this funny class-based shooter.
Someone puts it on
Next
public display,
clip.
of course.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. None of you guys see it because, I mean, shit, why would you care? Why would you bother going out of your way to look inside these workshop circles, which are...
Oh, Jesus. I'll just read
It's
it.
a lot of text.
TF2 Emporium mod on why I'm banned and deemed unfit to interact with their creatives. Oddly possessive, don't you think? It's common for the Emporium to ban block anyone who gives their work anything other than praise. They also muscle out / bully creators who don't agree with their sociopolitics or don't let the top brass creators wet their beak with their work. Roughly 80% of accepted content goes through the Emporium first. It's a long-running monopoly that's been going on for over a decade. And the Emporium people said, of course that'll raise the question, but I'm not banned. And the only reason you weren't is because you had left the Discord and all the mods legitimately just assumed you were banned since you weren't here. When you joined back, the mods had your Discord ID so they could make the ban proper. If you want to know why you're banned, it's mostly because it's just impossible for you to coexist with our creators. Even if you were on your best behavior and giving honest feedback, it would really just be a shit show and flame war every single time, which happened last time, as you know. I would really... Yeah, this is
Really like Unity.
Anybody, you want to go? Anyone have thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it.
That's pretty good. Alan, you got anything more concrete than?
Well, call me a boomer,
Uh-huh.
but I think the block button exists for a reason, Sonny.
I also think the block button exists.
I'm sorry for the terrible accent. I will never do that again.
Aw.
No, please continue.
I refuse.
I think that the block button's pretty cool. I also think that the idea that you should ban someone because their presence alone, even if they're doing nothing, is harmful to people. I think that's bad, you know? Call me crazy. I don't think you should ban people because their existence makes other people uncomfortable if they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, well, no, okay, so there's the argument where this is their Discord community or whatever, modding community, right?
Mm.
And they can let in or ban whoever they want, which I agree with.
Yeah, for sure.
If it is like, here, come to my house and we're gonna hang out and talk about modding TF2,
Mm-hmm.
this person's not allowed. I don't like that person. That's fine.
Mm.
But if this, I for the record, I don't know anything about the TF2 Emporium. But if that is legitimately like the way that 95% of mods get into the game or even get talked about, I think there's a genuine argument that that is the public square for TF2 modding.
Yeah.
And that banning people who are not like calling to action. Hey, everyone bully this one creator in this community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
just existing there or like having opinions that maybe not be the most nicely worded things. I don't think is right to do because it's not your house. It is where 95% of people who mod TF2 gather.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a worthy distinction to be made.
Yeah, I think that I'm of the same we are of the same mind, you and I. It would be one thing if it were a private Discord server of just people who mod or add cosmetics and model cosmetics for the game. It'd be one thing, but it's entirely different if it's like the place that people have to go through in order to get their cosmetics put into the game. That's like you are unnecessarily crippling yourself as a community to let a person who has dissenting opinions not be in the community. It would be like if we had a philosophy circle, you know, we are the Greek philosophers of old, the three of us, right? And we're all at the Parthenon, and we're at the Acropolis giving our various takes. And I think that a chair is something you sit on that has 4 legs. And then Alan goes, well, if you sit on a cow, does that make the cow a chair? And then I go, leave.
The answer is yes, by the way.
The answer is...
The point was that him kicking me out was incorrect.
Yeah, and then I just can go, so anyways, a chair is anything you sit on with 4 legs. And then Angel goes, does that mean if you sit on a dog, does that make the dog a chair because it has 4 legs? And I'm like get out.
You chose 2 animals that you don't normally sit on. Like, horses are right there, man.
No.
Why are you sitting on...
Yeah, anyways, I think this is dumb. I would agree with Zesty's perspective that this is bad.
I have a bit of an analogy. I don't know if this makes sense, but it's like building off of what Alan said. It's like if your border patrol put people out because they have like voices. You know?
Yeah.
Border to checkpoint. Whoever's at that checkpoint and like lets you into a certain place, like a bouncer, I guess.
I think that if the TF2 Emporium is basically a bouncer for 4/5 of all of TF2's content, then yeah, I would agree that this is certainly bad, and is not a good. At the very least, is a bad sign for cosmetics getting added to the game, in the future. So yeah, shall we press on?
We shall.
Public until they don't want to be, but someone's got to show players this bullshit. And I'll remind everyone here that you're free to comment on whatever these guys make on the workshop. Vote with your clicks and with your words.
He might be irresponsible, guys. What do you think?
Does this watch his clicks and his words?
do either of you think that this crosses the line into being a call to action for the in like a harassment way?
Not at all. And later on, he does say that, right?
Yes, he does, but I was curious of what you guys thought, because this is the part that I feel like it might be referring to.
I do not think this is irresponsible in any way. The comments are there specifically
To give your thoughts.
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the record, I also do not think he is in the wrong, but I feel like this is maybe what might be considered irresponsible. Alan, what do you think?
Can we get one more replay? Can we get a replay?
Yeah, sure. I got. We can roll them back.
None of you guys see it because, I mean, shit, why would you
Oh,
care? Why would you bother going out of your way to
We have
look
rolled
inside
back.
the workshop?
We have rolled back.
Which are public until they don't want to be, but someone's got to show players this bullshit. And I'll remind everyone here that you're free to comment on whatever these guys make on the workshop. Vote with your clicks and with your words. Don't be a dick about it, don't go out of your way to be an asshole to somebody, but remind them. If you're making items for TF2, you seriously need to pay attention to the game you're making items for.
That's basically the.
It is a call for action, but it's done in basically the most responsible way possible.
I would agree. I think that he
And
could.
calls to action are not necessarily like bad or evil or anything.
Yeah, no. Calls to action would be bad when they are calls to action that.
When you're calling for a morally bad action.
Yeah. Now, what's morally bad could be debated, but I feel like harassment would be is the one that most people gone for.
Bad thing.
Yeah, it's the one that most people gone for, and I think certainly that this is not that. I wouldn't consider this irresponsible. I would consider this hyper reasonable, actually, given the way he paints the state of things to be prior to this, and you can tell he's very impassioned about it. I think that he is being incredibly reasonable with how tame he's being, personally.
I think he's being like really obtuse with the fact that you're making comments on the workshop items.
Yeah.
And not the people.
Yeah, he wasn't like, go message the creator with 14 items in the game, McGee, and tell him he's stinky. Like, he didn't say that, you know? Pressing on, I think.
Preserving the game's aesthetic is one issue that gets mired in subjectivity, but preserving the gameplay is an absolute necessity. Remember, you're allowed to say that you don't like something. Voting no is always an option. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but no thanks, not interested.
And that's the segment that I wanted to cover today. I think that that's hyper reasonable. I would not characterize him as irresponsible at all.
I agree. He's not even telling you. I don't think most people, like, even if you wanted people to dogpile someone, I don't think you would go out and say, you guys should dogpile this person. I think you would present it as, these are the reasons why I don't like this person. And remember, this is their Discord.
Yeah, right.
Here's a link to their channel. Go report.
I think I certainly don't think you'd explicitly say to do the opposite of that and not dogpile the person if you wanted them to be dogpiled, and go through the trouble of censoring all of their names and explaining in detail why their ideas are bad, how their ideas are bad, and yet all of their like their other stuff is I think that this is all hyper reasonable. I wouldn't describe this as irresponsible at all.
The censoring the names and the reiterating, don't harass people and don't be a dick about it.
Yeah.
But you have a voice, you know?
Yeah. I think it's basically just like vote, like people telling you to go vote,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that this is also, I think the image on screen is funny, for the record.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
But I think that this is very charitable. I think that he's being hyper charitable right now. Also, Pretzels with Salt in chat said, "Hey there, Lucid Letters. First time being here. What are we discussing right now?" What we've the person right below that made me laugh. The current oh, thank you, Pretzels, I appreciate it. The current topic of discussion is irresponsible YouTubers. Can you make a video irresponsible? Uncle Dane, TF2 YouTubers, said that these two videos that we're talking about today were irresponsibly made in regards to TF2's art style and cosmetics, and we're going to talk about that. We're about to move on to the big kahuna for today, which is Funk's Death of the Art Style. We covered the two, I would say, setup examples, but this is the one that people always cite as like, this is why TF2's art style is going down the shitter. So we're going to talk about arguments irresponsibly, whether or not it was irresponsibly made. Yeah. So are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for like the video? We're an hour and 30 minutes in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to let this one play a little bit more if we hope to get through
Yeah,
it ever.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, Tired Dice is back. He's calling me unwholesome things. In chat.
Yeah, no, he's doing his thing. Yeah, we can start. Yeah, I think this is the parody of. Can we all agree that disclaimers at the beginning of YouTube videos are stupid and basically useless? They're basically
no.
like a don't harass me, go away button. I feel.
I kind of like them though.
Okay, I think this one's no. I think this one's good. Only because it's like a parody of the other ones that are stupid. But yeah. Oh, okay. Wait. Person in chat said he doesn't even agree with this video anymore. He said so on Twitter. Who was he?
Yeah, is he
Wait,
Uncle?
no.
Uncle Dane doesn't agree with this video.
Look at the pinned comment of the Funk video, because he still, like, his pinned comment was like from a month ago, and it explicitly states that he's not rolling back on any of the things he said.
Yeah, hold on. We'll grab it real quick. I was unaware. Since this is popular again, I still agree with this video. I don't regret making it. In hindsight, I think the modern art style is a mix of both Valve poorly planning things and Valve intentionally lifting their own restrictions for the sake of player expression. I don't like that people see this video and forget that second part, mostly because I hadn't considered it when making the video. I don't walk back any of my points. I just find awful loadouts more funny than upsetting today. So, he does explicitly agree with it.
It's just more of a. Isn't that wacky?
Could anyone link to the Twitter?
Yeah, yeah. Hold on, I'll go looking. Give me 1 second, chat.
Also, side note,
Daniel,
I can't Google the metal nickel without Nickelodeon being the first thing that comes up, and I'm mad. Anyways, continue.
Nickelodeon?
Daniel, I agree that warnings can sometimes be reasonable.
I think that warnings are sometimes reasonable. It's just on YouTube videos. They're often just to get
on
YouTube videos.
On most YouTube videos, they're unnecessary.
Yeah.
However, I think the one on this Funk video is pretty good.
I think it's good because it's a parody of
got
bad
some
ones.
Humor to it.
Yeah. Also, I don't see anything about his.
He walked back what he said. Did he walk back him walking it back? Is that what you're saying?
Did he? Hold on, because I'm looking and I don't see anything. Also, so to recap, Uncle Dane's opinion on the art style was that people exaggerate it, and that the people exaggerating it is because of the two videos made by ZestyJesus, the team recognition video by ZestyJesus, and this video, which were quote unquote irresponsibly made. And we're gonna talk about that. Also, yeah, it looks like literally the exact opposite. By the way. Oh, interesting. Hold on. Go to his replies October 12th. Okay. All right. We're gonna do some research, evidently.
You're not watching this video, it seems.
That video was pre-war paints and a lot of later visual additions. So, okay, hold on. Wait, fucking... Okay. Here, hold on. I'll show this on stream. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. You should do that.
Huey Can on Twitter says, this video has done irreparable damage to cosmetic discussion. Person in the comments said, best part, Funk now punchy, quote unquote, question mark, said this a couple of days ago. Apparently, this was from a knockout.chat thread. I don't know what that is. Honestly, regarding that video, Death of an Artstyle, I circled back around to liking weird and tacky loadouts because I just find them really funny. My preference is grounded cosmetics, but if I made that video today, I'd probably treat it as a funny observation rather than tragedy. Most of TF2's design principles are so strong that even in extreme circumstances, it's rare a player ever struggles to identify a class or team alignment. The 1 or 2 times it does happen is more humorous than it is upsetting. Like, alright, you got flanked by a pyro because you thought he was on your team, laugh it off and move on, it's genuinely not a big deal. And then Funk says, looking back, I think that video was a lot of reasonable observations getting taken to the wrong conclusion, both by myself and by a lot of people who go on to quote it. Half my complaints were arbitrary, and the ones that weren't, I still framed as somehow an objective truth. That video was also pre-war paints and a lot of later visual additions, so I see why people feel the trends mentioned there continued. I still agree with a lot of my own observations from back then, but I feel silly acting like any of it has ever lessened my experience today. I also think that video's that's important. I also think that video's biggest problem was just how much I concluded issues as Valve lazy or Valve no care. In reality, I think they cared a lot about player expression, and so they were willing to reapproach their own visual restrictions to compromise on that. I think that this... So here's the thing, right? We're not addressing... We can address the arguments as they come for this. I think that... my point is, like, I want to... We're gonna address the arguments regardless of if he believes them. Take all of this with the umbrella of he may not believe this today, yada yada yada, but we're going to address them as if they believe them. We're going to address it as if it were released yesterday, because we're trying to determine whether or not this video was quote unquote irresponsibly constructed. Yeah, we can talk about whether or not we're not going to talk about any of that. But yeah, so the point of this stream is to digest if this video is irresponsibly constructed, and also try and figure out what on earth Uncle Dane actually means by that. So you know, let's get this going.
2007, 2017, 2009, 2017, 2013, 2017.
A couple of the items we've shipped in the past have been as far away from the TF's art style as we want to go.
And those items would be...
I think the dangerous glasses would probably be out there. I think those probably one of the most egregious things.
Clearly, substantial point being made. Obviously, I think we could all agree that TF2... Can we all, like, in call at least agree that TF2's cosmetics have gotten progressively more insane as the game has gone on?
They're certainly more insane than the dangerous glasses.
Yeah, the dangerous glasses, I forget how to pronounce it, but the dangerous glasses are, like, tame compared to a lot of the stuff that's been added today, you know? I think it's like... now whether or not that's a bad thing is what we're gonna the rest of the video, but we can, I think, all agree on the premise that TF2's gotten progressively more out there as things have progressed. Also, I want to point out, because I've done the cosmetic series myself with the reference series, and going through, like, where the cosmetics started in, like, chronological order is kind of crazy. I like, you go from things that happen like very very I think like we go from like very very like historical pieces, things that would only exist in the time period that TF2 takes place in, to like out there things that don't make any sense, like before even
more.
like yes. Like we get out there very quickly.
Hey guys, is the pyro update out yet? No? Okay. I have an announcement.
What a hilariously dated joke.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
It's funny.
The pyro update is out. It's been out for years. And that's it.
Hey, is the heavy TF2 update out yet?
Nope.
Bye.
Bye.
End stream.
I officially quit TF2 trading. I got bored of trading years ago and I haven't actively done it in a long time. The reason I bring this up is that over the years, TF2's art style has gotten, we'll call it developed. TF2's cosmetics have always had some level of absurdity to them, but they've really ramped it up to like 10,000 in recent years. And I'll give you an example. The counterfeit Billy Cock is a great hat. It's absurd, but it's not unrealistic. It doesn't look out of place, and it perfectly reflects the character of the class wearing it.
You guys agree?
I agree.
I would agree as well. I think that if it is a bit quiet, I will make it a little bit louder then. I agree that Billy did. I agree that this is probably, if you're gonna make a humorous cosmetic and you were trying to make it fit within the art style, this would be probably the best choice, or like a premier example.
Yeah, and it's like a play on Spy's like
Yeah, whole thing.
Design of putting the mask on his face.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's a lovely way to go about it. And yeah, it's good. I like it.
I don't know if I would agree that it reflects. Oh, well, like I don't think it reflects the character of the class wearing it. For the record, I think that's maybe poor wording. I think what he's trying to say is it reflects the design of the class. I don't think that Spy, like as a person, would wear this ever.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't think I could not picture the very serious, very like almost like stoic Frenchman. Like
I meant it as like it's a very fun way to look at how they've shown.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This guy's changing ability.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that in reference to what you said. I'm saying that that's what Funk said. It's like on screen right now. Because he said it reflects the character of the class, and I was saying I don't know if that I agree. I think that but I think what I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he probably meant it reflects the design of the class. This is just a little. I'm nitpicking a little bit.
This one's just a banana. Does Spy even like bananas? Does anybody in this game like bananas? Okay, maybe him. But what's your excuse?
I don't have one.
TF2's always had contextually questionable items. I'm pretty sure mechanical arms and boomboxes weren't around before the 70s, but this.
I think that I'm not gonna defend the boombox. I'll defend the mechanical arms a little bit. I think that most of TF2's futuristic stuff is retro, like a lot of the or especially the earlier stuff, like the Beatman is a good example of this. It's built to look like what people in the 60s thought the future would be, and for that reason I almost give it a pass, because I don't think it's breaking the time period, because at the time they did think that like the future would look like the Jetsons and not look like 2023 we're gonna have flying cars, like that's like the meme, right? And those flying cars are gonna look like the Jetsons, and a lot of the older futuristic tech in TF2's cosmetics is like based on that era. I feel.
I agree.
I think
it's a fair way of looking at it.
Like the laser gun that what an engineer has, or the laser gun that can replace the pistol.
Kappa?
The capper, yeah, the capper is a good example of what I mean. Also, I agree with I did not know that the Heavy's mechanical arm that was referenced was based off Deus Ex prosthetics. If that's the case, then I rescind my statement. Forgive me. But I think a lot of the other ones, I know the boombox wasn't released until much like 2014, I think. So, yeah, a lot of the older cosmetics
game has teleporters and magical healing air groups, so I'm willing to suspend my disbelief at least a little bit. However, there's a line where things start to really look out of place. Promotional items are some of the worst contenders for art style breaking.
Oh boy.
People usually write this off saying that because it's promotional, it doesn't count. And yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I'm sure Valve sees it the exact same way.
I think the ones that we would all point to would be the Shogun stuff. We're really happy with those items. We think that they visually fit TF style really nicely. They were made by Rob Laro. We love Rob's work. We think he understands TF style really well.
What do you guys think?
What is this spy cosmetic?
It's called No Mercy. It's one of the more common ones. It's an Inu mask. You know the Inu masks.
No, okay, nah. The watch together went an extra like frame or two on my screen.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're looking at Octodad.
Well, I'll roll it
Yeah,
back.
we're looking
I'll roll
at
it back.
Octodad spy.
What do you see now?
I don't know. I can see it on the stream though. It's the.
Hold on, I'm just gonna.
It's like, damn, bro, that's a lot of lore for Octodad.
Oh boy. I think that I think that I would say that especially the heavy. I think all of these. Oh yeah, sorry, not the Inu mask, the Oni mask. I'm stupid. Not the dog. It's not a dog. I'm an idiot. Yeah, Oni is correct. I don't think that. I don't think any of these break TF2's art style, especially when compared to the banana. Like I wouldn't consider any of these breaches of TF. Maybe I'm just sore on it because of, all of the things that I've seen since, like all of the things that have been added to the game since then.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't find the banana so egregious personally.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's something that they could have had.
Yeah, but do you not think it like in a game that's? I think it's almost. I think most people would agree it's almost too goofy.
Maybe.
I think that
maybe I just have seen the Octodad spy cosmetic. I'm desensitized.
ZestyJesus in chat.
Hi Zesty, it's good to see you. We covered your video earlier in the stream. How are you doing?
That's Zesty. Wow. Hello.
It's good to see you. Yeah, no, medic is certainly, yeah. I don't think it's. I think it might. I know the line is different for everyone. Maybe it's because, and like I said, maybe it's just because I've had so much, seen so much shit that like this doesn't bother me. I think that I think that this is probably fine. What I'm looking at, I think I would consider this not so egregious. Personally, like I said, certainly not when compared to the banana. I think there's, by the way, a way you can take the banana hat and make the banana hat work. I just don't think that what we got is that. Like I feel like if you like, Alan, if you put the banana hat in Fallout, do you think it would break your immersion at all?
Well, it like I think is what you're getting at is that it really depends on how it's implemented.
Yeah.
If you put it, I was gonna say if you put it in Fallout 4, I would kind of expect it, but like maybe in Fallout New Vegas, it would be like a little more immersion breaking. But even then, if you like, you can make it work.
Also,
if you took it from what it is to New Vegas just suddenly, then it probably wouldn't work.
Also, for just on the off chance that you're free, Zesty, if you want to come on the show, you're more than welcome to. I know you're busy, but since you're here, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome to.
Wouldn't it be crazy to tap fingers together?
No, it's not that big of a deal. One way or the other. But I thought I'd extend because we did cover your video, But yeah, no, I think that the banana's probably where I draw the line, personally.
Fair enough. Like I said, I've probably just seen worse. So
that's kind of where I'm at with this medic cosmetic. I think that it's just a little bit. It's probably fine as far as. Yeah.
He understands TF style really well. Visually fit TF style really nicely.
Oh shit. Yeah, we will be here. We're probably gonna spend 20 minutes talking about one specific frame of this video. So yeah, absolutely. Just let me know when.
If the previous 109 minutes are anything to go off of.
Yeah, we've actually made decent time. I anticipated this would take much longer than I thought we would be at least 2 hours before we got to Death of an Artstyle. I think that the Octodad spy hat's pretty bad.
It's yeah.
This is just like this is like the classic one where you take you took a character from a game and you put it on the dude's head. You took a thing and you put it on the dude's head, you know. Also, someone in chat brought up something I want to go look at real quick. Someone in chat said that we have a better banana hat that I want to look at real quick to see if it's a better banana hat.
Is this this might be a very funny bit.
Oh.
This is a very funny bit.
This is a pretty funny bit.
Can we put this on screen?
Yeah, hold on. Wait, hold on.
Who said that? Who's the funny person?
Who's the funny person in chat who said that the burned banana peel?
Goldenberry is a humorous legend.
This is amazing.
It's not on the screen.
I got it. Chat, what do you think of the burned banana peel?
Best banana cosmetic in TF2.
This is amazing. This is actually kind of incredible. Can you actually put this on your head? I don't think you can, right? This isn't an actual hat.
I feel like it goes.
Someone's man. I think this is great. We need more burned banana peels, I think.
Give me like 1 minute.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll let you go.
I'm just gonna say I'm excited to ask Zesty what does being irresponsible mean?
Me too.
I'm excited for that response. Regardless, yeah, I think that for the record, think that the banana peel, like the regular one, is this a hat? I think this might be just a backpack item. Hold on. If the basic banana peel was a hold on. Can I have the banana peel, please? Can I have like the regular banana peel? Hold on, chat. Give me 1 second. Is the regular banana peel a real thing? Like that I can wear on my head? Because if so, that is an infinitely better way to put a banana on someone's head for the purpose of the... Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, yeah, there's no banana peel. There's no banana peel cosmetic that you can just put on your head that looks like the Mario item. I think that if you had like the Mario item and you could put the Mario item on someone's head, then that would be infinitely better. I think. Because it's not nearly as it's much more like classical, and I think it's not nearly as.
Wait, a what? Like a Mario hat?
No. Like, you know, the banana peel, like the classic, like, oh, I slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah, yes.
I think that would be a much better way to put a banana on someone's head to fit the art style of the game.
It's less cartoony, but TF2's always been cartoony as well, you know?
Yeah, but like I think putting the banana peel on someone's head is cartoonish enough. It's more like classically cartoony. It's not like it's hard to Zesty said like it gets mired in subjectivity when you talk about the aesthetic, but I think that most people would agree that there's a classical cartoony and like a zoomer Fortnite bright saturated colors cartoony, and like the former is much more TF2 than the latter, you know?
I agree.
There's like stand up from the 40s, and then there's like I don't know, Mr. Beast. like they're not the same thing.
The banana hat is certainly closer to the Fortnite cartoony than TF2 cartoony. Although I don't think it's as close as you think it is, but it is subjective.
Yeah, this would be a very hard thing to like pin down. From like an argumentative perspective, but
as far as the video, like this part of the video, I don't think the point is comparing cosmetics in general. I think it's comparing different implementations of promotional cosmetics, right?
Yeah, no, the point being made here, yeah, so we don't get it lost, I guess. The point being made here is clearly the promotional cosmetics started off fine, but then they got progressively bad. I think that is the point that is being made.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, yeah. Hi, Angel. Do you have thoughts on Octodad Spy?
I actually really like the look of it.
What if it? Do you think it would be too far if it were? What if it were paintable? Do you think that would be too far for you?
No, yeah, don't paint Octodad.
I need lime green Octodad. You know.
If someone does that, I'm officially like quitting Team Fortress 2.
And you know what's interesting? I think that there are like cosmetics that you like. I don't think any cosmetic idea is off the table. I think it's just the implementation of them is bad. Like, there's definitely a way you could make this cosmetic into a way that I think would be more palatable for the art style that TF2 has. Would the Octodad hat work better if it were colored like Spy's mask? No. I'm gonna go with no. I think that it would still be ridiculous if it were colored like Spy's mask. It would just be less noticeably ridiculous.
I'm imagining it, and
it's kind of like funny to imagine like Spy's head being replaced with the Octodad mask, so it's not like a mask, it's just his head. Yeah, I think this is a bit far for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely far. I'm not saying it's not like completely fucking with the art style. I'm just saying I just have a special place in my heart for Octodad.
He has biases.
I do have biases. I'm sorry.
I do think it would be better, yes, if it were the color of Spy's mask. I do think it would be better, but I don't think it would be acceptable. Like, if I were at Valve, I'd be like, no, this is stupid. We can do better than this. Shall we press on?
We shall.
Really nicely. Visually.
1971, by the way. That's the latest time TF2 in-game takes place. Oculus Rift was founded in, like, 2000.
Yeah, so this one's a bit stupid, right?
Yeah.
The cosmetic or the argument?
We can address the argument in a second. I was referring to the cosmetic.
It looks like the shading is messed up on the cosmetic only, but
I would agree. I also think that, like, this is I feel like, I don't know. I really like the idea that the time period should be kept. This gets into the argument, right? Oh, thank you, Zesty. Hold on. Let me take care of that. You guys talk about the validity. Should TF2's art style reflect its time period or not?
not necessarily. So the thing with TF2, it's not like you go and you boot up Battlefield 1 and you are an Italian on the front lines, you know?
Mm.
And suddenly someone walks by with like a giant banana hat. It's you know, you're there to like be immersed in a thing that actually happened, I guess. Whereas in TF2, you know, the gravel wars aren't real.
Mm.
There was never a gravel war.
Yeah. Also, hi, Zesty.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Thank
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's good to talk to you. Would you like to give your thoughts on the situation? I guess I'll give you a little bit of rundown. I don't know how long you've been here.
Goofy Oculus hat.
Well, then I don't think it's particularly great myself, but no, we how long have you been here, like in stream?
Oh, like half an hour.
Okay. Over half an hour ago, we covered the premise of this stream was to go over the idea that you can make a video irresponsibly. in reference to Uncle Dane's comments regarding this video and the video you made about team recognition.
Right.
So we went through what Uncle Dane said, and we went through not your entire video, but specifically about the 24-minute mark where you talk about the creators and the workshop people and how they respond to criticism, and tell people, hey, you have the ability to say no. Would you like to give your thoughts on that and potentially what, being irresponsible might mean?
I think I don't know. I think Dane saying that my video being irresponsible was irresponsible on his part, because I'm not even sure what he was even trying to imply by saying it was irresponsible. I really, at the end of that video, I was just showing what certain groups of workshoppers say on their own, right? This is just them, right?
Yeah.
And it's important for us as the player base, if we, for those that care about the game in varying capacities, to defend it.
Yeah,
I guess.
I would personally agree. I also just took issue with the idea that you could make a YouTube video irresponsibly and without having like a call to what would be legally defined as a call to action in like a court. I think because I'm of the personal belief that YouTubers should not be responsible for the actions of their audiences, and
I completely agree. However, I think sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
Go ahead, finish.
No, you go.
No, I completely agree. I think when it comes to opinions, at the end of the day, an individual has two options. They can either agree or disagree, and then beyond that, it's not really the YouTuber's problem. Like, what's the right way to say this? It's not the responsibility of the YouTuber to make sure that their audience has a well-informed opinion, but it is their responsibility to be well-informed and genuine with their own opinions, and then truthful with what they present as fact. That makes sense.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like way at the start of the stream, with misinformation versus disinformation, where there's a difference between if you know something's false and you spread it, or you believe something to be true and you spread it. So I think as long as you're being genuine, like you said, it's...
No, yeah, and then again, because ultimately when it comes to being genuine with an opinion you convey, it's again, you agree or disagree, and then that's it, right?
Yeah. I think that, because we talked about this briefly as well, the idea that, like, because you make sure, because I know you've been accused of a multitude of things, but specifically you've been accused of, inciting harassment against workshop people, artists,
right? Yeah.
And therefore, like, every time you bring it up under any circumstance, you have to make like the disclaimer, like, hey, don't do the thing. And I feel that often, not just you, but YouTubers have to make that disclaimer, not because necessarily what they said incited harassment at all, but more just because people accuse them of it. And it's like the get out of jail free card for if you're ever criticized, to just say like, oh, I received the bad things happened to me,
No, yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's mostly to kind of cover my own ass, and but on the second half to that, sorry, I just woke up and having my coffee in my system still.
No worries.
But on like the second part of that is, there's always going to be a minority of bad actors that are going to go out of their way to just do reprehensible stuff,
Oh, for sure.
And you have to address that. Like, I mean, and I know I have a very small volume of people that just do it as like, just being trolls, like, oh, we are the Zesty Army and we are gonna go shove a broomstick up their butts, and they just do a bunch of stupid stuff like that. But again, it's a very small minority, and most people, like 99% of people, just are normal humans and don't go out of the way to be jerks. So, but yeah, that statement is a cover my ass thing, because as you said, they can, deflect all legitimate criticism by saying, "Oh, I'm being harassed," and if they just kind of do that blanket generalization as, "Oh, Zesty's just harassing workshoppers," like especially on social spaces like Twitter, that immediately invalidates any and all arguments because now they just take the side of the person who's being abused, I guess.
Yeah. It's also wild. He also makes the Uncle Dane also says, and we thought this was a wild thing to say. In that hot takes video, he both says he agrees with a different person, Wheezy, who said that 90 to 95% of the good TF2 ideas have yet to be done. He then goes on to say that it is okay to steal other people's ideas, which of course, you thought was funny. But then additionally, going back to what he said to you, he said that, like, the lack of discussion has led us to talking about something as boring as team recognition, and all three of us respond and we're like, what?
Yeah, like that's off limits now, I guess?
Yeah, we were like, how is that
game functioning?
We were all like,
yes, frontier justice good, team recognition bad.
Everything else perfectly fine. Team recognition, that's where I draw the line. It was such a weird
I found that kind of silly. But.
Yeah, it was such a weird thing to be like, because we all were like, well, I thought it was interesting. It's like, what now? Like, I think that thing not boring, you know.
No, yeah, and I mean, I don't think anyone else had done a very in-depth analysis on how team recognition works inside of the game.
Yeah, not at all.
And I felt like it was necessary because you needed this at least basic background understanding of how it functions in order to like understand like, oh, that's why you have to be careful with creating cosmetics in this game, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and when they were making the game, when they were first making the game, it was somebody's job to design these characters and the teams so that the game functions well and you can easily tell what's going on, you know?
Yeah, that's Moby Frankie. Moby Frankie was the lead art director on this game. He was the guy that designed everything you look at in TF2 before hats made their way in.
Yeah.
You have him to thank for making such a readable game.
Yeah, it is incredible to me that I've never had a moment where I've looked at a character in TF2 and I've like misidentified them as being a part of a different team. That's never happened, and it's happened in basically every other competitive shooter or video game that I've ever played. It's just with TF2, It's perfect. Like it everything looks immediately, and the way you explained it as well was in a way where it was like it's so simple that you would never think of it until you have it explained to you, like you did.
No, yeah, because it's all like the design and readability are all things that are just so. What's the phrase I'm thinking of? It's just so easy to digest that you don't really think about it. And then when it's not there, you're like, whoa, what happened? Right? Because it's just so obvious to the player of like, oh, that's what this is. That is red. That is blue. That is the heavy. This is the cart, what have you.
Yeah.
That you just take it for granted. And it's so robust that you can put a bunch of hats and unusual effects and a bunch of other stuff in there, right? And it still doesn't go away because of how strongly the game was designed. You have to really go out of your way to hurt that readability, and it takes an effort to make that happen, right? Like you have to really go out of your way to make it, like for example, a paint region on a cosmetic so big that you can no longer tell what team someone is on.
Yeah,
and then that's like a very clear line you should not cross, right?
I wanted to ask you in regards to because we were just talking about it. Do you think there's any idea for a cosmetic that's unworkable fundamentally?
Yes.
What would be an example?
There are certain things that just should not be in the game, if that's what you're saying.
Well, I mean, like, do you think there's a cosmetic in the game? Like, give me an example. Like, I don't know. The banana hat is the example.
Talking about the banana.
Yeah, and we were asking like, could you have a version of that cosmetic that works with TF2's art style? Like, how far back would you need to go with the idea for it to suddenly be like okay?
I mean, like how far back you need to go in the timeline in order for the cosmetic to be okay?
No, like how
or like the design, you mean?
Yeah, like how much do you have to strip the idea down? I guess is the way to put it.
Oh, you'd have to a lot because the current state of the banana is a banana on the head.
current
I mean, that's all it is. It serves.
the current state of the banana is crazy.
That's all it is.
It's
It's just like it serves no purpose, right? It exists to be a banana on the head, whereas you have something like let's say the lucky shot for the soldier, right? Where it's a rocket on soldier's head, but it's a rocket that was probably from another soldier that embedded itself inside of his helmet, right? There's there's some extra context to that where it fits more into the game's tone, where it's what I like to call subtle wacky, right?
Yeah.
It's a subtle wacky hat without being just like, haha, it's funny for the sake of being funny, right? So for the banana hat, you'd have to reduce it. Like, I don't think there's a way to reduce just a banana into a hat. Like, you have like the banana nades, you know, that are the grenade replacements for soldier. Like, at least those are grenades.
We had,
and it's like you can, so that kind of barely works. But I can't think of an argument for the banana hat.
The idea that I had was you take the hat part like away, like you don't make it cover the full face, and then you change it to be like an actual banana peel. Like how in like the 40s and 50s, like classic comedy shit where they slip on the banana peel and you just take that and you put it on the head. I thought that would be a way to make the banana into a better hat. That would be more.
That's better. Yeah.
But that's like, I agree. It's like one of the most unworkable looking ideas. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad, and like, I mean, you can ham fist it into like, okay, you could redesign it to be like a banana shaped helmet where it's very obvious, like made of metal. You have some rivets in the side, and it's like a rough paint job of a banana, but it would still look goofy, but a little bit better.
Yeah, and this doesn't even get into like unusual effects, which just, you know,
unusual effects are an entirely different beast.
Yeah, they're a bit of a nightmare. And they I don't know if you'd agree, but I would argue that unusual effects hamper team recognition the most out of any other like cosmetic thing. Unusual effects are the only thing that have made it where I look at something and suddenly I have to guess like what class, for instance, it is. Because I can't see over all the particle effects.
Yeah, I think you're right in that the particle effect is what the eye wants to look at first, because it's the bright, shiny thing on the merc.
Yeah.
And then because that's what you look at first, and not the entire, like, and not the torso, which is what the game was designed for you to have to look at first, was the torso, right? That's where the color is. That's where the guns are. It's where the muzzle flare animations are. It's made. The game is made for the eye to go to the torso first to see what the team color is. But when you throw neon green flames around someone's head, guess what the eye is going to look at first, and that will hamper with recognition at a glance, right?
Yeah.
Though I will say it's not super, it's not as bad as other things, right? Because like it's still at least contained to the head.
That's true,
right? And not the whole body. So
that's like one of the main points that Funk makes in his video, like later on. It's like, what? Unusuals, that's the word. Unusuals, like, they take away from the character as a whole, in a sense. I don't know how to phrase this.
Yeah, it covers up like a third character.
Yeah, I mean, it covers up, like, their head, right? And, like, every merc is so meticulously designed to look in a certain way that when you just cover it up with a particle effect, it removes that bit of their charm, right? It doesn't impact... I don't think it... I would say most unusual effects don't negatively impact gameplay, at least the ones that are on the hat. Taunt effects are awful and should have never been put in the game. But I think they're more of a bastardization of the art style than they are on gameplay. Because again, the game can get away with a lot without actually hurting the experience.
I agree. I think that other facets of team recognition can be much more detrimental. To the art style. My example earlier was the Overwatch outlines. They personally hurt my eyes and make me
hate those things so much. Why were they ever? Who wanted those? What purpose do they serve? I turned them off.
It's like well no, because like I understand the thought, right? The thought was we have a bunch of different characters, they all look very distinct from one another. How are we going to tell them apart? And the response to that thought was, oh, we'll just team color we'll team color their outlines, and then make it where you can like kind of see your teammates through walls. So then
that's just bad game design.
No, I agree.
If you have to highlight the entire outline of a character so people can tell who is and is not on your team, that's just bad game design. That's why I can't stand games like Paladins or Overwatch, because like they've muddied the visual readability so much that they have to like shoehorn this bright thing like, hey, this is your team if you weren't sure, right?
I don't know, but at the same time, a game like Overwatch is more geared towards the like competitive scene. It always has been, or at least it's received more support from the developers for that.
Yes.
And their characters, you can do like the silhouette test. Same with TF2 characters, where even if you don't have any details, you just see the outline, you can tell what character it is. So I feel like it helps a lot for seeing my teammate Tracer is there through the wall at a glance. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And you also bring up something interesting in terms of the competitive gaming standpoint, where TF2's team sizes are so much larger that there's so much more going on that visual readability is crucial for team play, because TF2 is, of course, the team-based game that is heavily centered around working with your team to achieve the goal. When you reduce team size, especially for games like Counter-Strike or Overwatch, the game is still technically team-based, but it's much more heavily based on one-on-one player interactions, where you can quickly determine, oh yeah, this is it, because you know the person is shooting at me, and there's nobody else around. It's very obviously someone not on my team because it's a one-on-one interaction. Whereas for TF2, it's a much bigger clusterfuck where you have like 9 people diving into one sentry on the opposite team, where you need that visual readability to tell who is friend and who is foe. Right?
Yeah, just at a glance, this area of my screen is more red. This area is more blue.
Exactly. Whereas in games like Overwatch, where you only have 3 or 4 people on your screen at a time, it's a lot more safe to make the assumption that if they're next to me, behind me, they're probably on my team. And if they're way off in the distance taking pot shots, they're probably not, right?
Yeah,
whereas
and even
TF2
then,
is much more close quarters.
It's like 11 other people you have to keep track of. That's a lot more manageable for your brain to just like keep track of without having to like take notes.
Yeah, take notes or
You know
constant or like, you know, strain to look for a colored silhouette or a nameplate or what have you, right? Which is like, I think you may have, I don't know if you discussed this or not, but that was like one of the main counter arguments to my video is like, oh, well, just look at them and look for a nameplate or look at them.
We talked a little
shoot,
bit about
or shoot them, right? Or just shoot them, right? Or just shoot them if you can't tell. It's oh my lord.
Yeah, the battlefield put a Dorito over their head method.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that works for a game like Overwatch, where the amount of times you're encountering a player is far lower and more likely to be an enemy. Whereas for TF2, you have a class that disguises as your own team,
is
meant to fool you, right? So it's like, okay, so now I'm just gonna shoot all 11 other people over here just to make sure it's safe.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the outlines work better in a game like Overwatch. I would love to see someone like rotoscope TF2 footage so everyone has outlines and then like watch it.
I tried. I tried to do that for my team recognition video. It's so hard. I can't do it. I got through like 80 frames. I'm just like, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore.
Dedication.
That was the other thing I was gonna say. Was characters in TF2 just move faster than characters in Overwatch. I feel like generally. Like I know I got a lot of backlash in my Scout video for saying that Tracer moves faster than Scout. Which I maintained because they're operating off of like their run speed, and I'm talking about like Tracer can travel through time, but generally like the characters in TF2 move faster than the characters in Overwatch because of things like the movement based physics and how rocket jumping or just blast jumping in general works. So having like that, but then add an outline to it, and suddenly that becomes an absolute nightmare. Could you imagine like a jump map where there's like 20 soldiers all doing the same jump, but they all have outlines on them, so they just blend together to be like this overlapping Venn diagram nightmare? It's like that would be
that
would be abysmal.
That would be rough.
Yeah.
That would be really rough. And I think you're right in that in terms of the physics engine and how each of the games are played, TF2 character models tend to be on the screen for much shorter periods of time than in a game like Overwatch. Because again, for TF2, the game is so much more close quarters that just because of how field of view works, someone's going to spend a lot less time in your field of view because they're that much closer to you, right? And then you have all the different mobility mechanics, scout, blast jumping, demo man blast jumping, demo knight charging, and all that stuff. And then people getting knocked around every which way by damage knockback and things like that. Yeah, things move a lot faster in TF2.
Yeah,
at least visually they do. It would be an interesting test to see like what the average screen time of an enemy is between the two games.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I wanted to address something I saw multiple people say in chat earlier. I don't agree with the idea that the only reason we're talking about this is because of content drought. I think that's a stupid thing to say. I think that's ridiculous. People have been talking about Super Smash Bros. Melee for 23 years, and the game has never been updated, and people have been talking about Ultimate since it came out, and like in regards to the game's mechanics that have been in there since day one. Like I don't think the content being added to the game makes any difference on the fact that we're talking about it, especially when TF2 is probably the best game that I can think of in regards to team recognition specifically. So surely if you were going to talk about it with any game, you'd want to talk about it with this one.
No, yeah, because this one does it so well that other games copied it. Right?
Yeah.
Other games copied how well TF2's other games copied TF2's amazing visual design, and I mean, it's not at least the reason why I made my video is, it's something that we need to protect.
Yeah.
We need to preserve this very meticulous, intensive design because it does define the gameplay, and if you damage it, it hurts the gameplay.
Yeah, for sure.
It needs to be spoken about, and I'm surprised more people haven't.
I agree. Also, would you like to continue watching this video with us?
Oh, absolutely.
You can go to the Watch Together link. You can scroll up a little bit. Have you used Watch Together before?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just scroll up there. When it comes to team recognition and things like I was going over, like Smash Brothers does the older Smash games do what TF2 does, where they have the different skins that are associated with the different teams, and when you play team battle, you can't switch off those skins. It's very similar to how TF2 does it, where it has the most immediately recognizable parts. Those are the ones that are colored. But then after Smash 4, because of how many characters are in that game, that just like throw it out the window, and now you have you have the colored you have the colored outlines, and it's like, oh no, get it away. Because like I said this earlier, but how on earth are you going to tell if Sonic is on the blue or the red team?
I mean,
he's the fastest moving character. He's the fastest moving character, and he's already blue. And like,
blue bladder?
It's just like you're never gonna know. All right, we can get this going.
2013. A couple years after 1971. I know I keep referencing this interview in videos, even though it's 6 years old and it doesn't necessarily reflect Valve today, but I feel like if you worked on the original TF2, you probably have a decent say on how the game should be stylized. Whenever an item creator updates their item, Valve generally obliges by implementing the update in-game. Most people only use this to
Oh, this is not true anymore, right?
Well, not anymore, yeah, because people were abusing that and trying to, one, make classes all class so they could like abuse the market.
Yeah.
And then you had guys trying to change, I think this is true, like trying to change textures and like lace things in or like, abuse Valve's kind of just like, yeah, fuck it, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And because you had a small handful of guys trying to abuse that, now they no longer accept updates for cosmetics like this.
Yeah, which is, bad.
Few jerks ruined it for everybody else.
Yeah, because now you got things like the different war paints having like bad texture or what is it? Not bump mapping. The normal maps. The normal maps are messed up.
Incorrect shaders and things that are not put on war paints and like So you remember Ghoul Blaster from the Scream Fortress 14 collection when it was first implemented. It uses the base of Manana Peeled, and it was using Manana Peel's wear. So it was this, yellow pale wear instead of the green goo that it should have been. And the creator of that kind of had to twist Eric's arm, saying, hey, can you make sure it uses the right custom wear?
Yeah.
And he kind of fought him on this because, you know, it's like, oh, well, people might already like how it looks when no one did. But of course, but then he changed it, right? But he refuses to do this for other war paints like Team Serviced, Secretly Serviced, and a couple of others from Summer that did not have like the albedo shine included on those. He didn't change them. And others that needed orientation lock, they just didn't implement that.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the whole, it's like when the artist, like if I submit a draft to a publisher and then they're like, oh, we're ready to submit, and then I realize that there's a typo in it, and I'm like, hey, can I fix that typo? And they're just like, no.
They might like it.
Yeah, they might like the they might like that
They might
typo.
have preferred the word misspelled.
Like, yeah.
They've made lore on it already.
Yeah, they've already.
There's a fandom page and everything.
There's a fandom page. Yeah.
Overhaul the item years later, or to give it to another class that it fits on. But interestingly enough, Valve really didn't seem to care how far you'd push the envelope with this. You want to make the hot dogger all class? Yeah, fuck it, go for it. You want to make this knight helmet all class? You want to make a peaked cap all class? Oh yeah, let's make a fighter pilot hat all class. Okay, well that's not fair. Ever heard of the hazmat head case? As a joke, the creator put in a sniper version, expecting Valve to catch it, but Valve, being the AAA company that they are, didn't.
This is like the classic example.
Yeah, that is the classic example, because then you had other people following suit, doing other jokes and dumb things. Then Valve just like went, nope, we're not doing this anymore.
Like, I knew about this before I had ever downloaded TF2. That's how widespread this particular example is.
Yeah. I actually remember when Valve started implementing these hat changes for things like the hat with no name, the hot dogger, and what have you, where initially, like, people were like, they weren't very popular hats, but of course, as soon as they go multi-class or all-class, traders just chomped at the bit to, like, start hoarding hats, because whenever they would see a workshop or update their item, they knew Valve was just going to accept it.
Yeah.
And so they just started buying up all the cheap single-class hats. This happened with the hat with no name, the cowboy hat. The workshopper updated the workshop page for it to become multi-class, and so you had a bunch of traders buying up all the hats, and then as soon as Valve implemented it, boom, they, like, quadrupled the prices of all these hats. And there's another reason why Valve stopped doing it.
Yeah, just
crazy.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to talk about. What do you think of the walking back, not walking back that Funk has done in this video?
I mean, I made a YouTube post about it. I just kind of find it disappointing, because everything he says in this video is still 100% correct and heckin' valid. And to see him kind of just say, oh, well, I think these cosmetics are funny, and I don't really take much offense to it as I did. And it's like, I don't know. I just find it disappointing, because I don't really know why he walked it back. I mean, I have my assumptions, but I don't know them. I won't relay those because I don't know them for sure. But just disappointing, honestly.
It seems like, to me, that enough people have viewed like I said, I also don't know. I don't know Funk, but it seems to me like enough people viewed the video with negative light because of everything that's come as a result of it, that he felt the need to sort of downplay his current feelings about the video, to sort of lessen the blow or distance himself from it. And I actually have not seen this video until now.
Really?
I watched this video, I think, when it came out years ago, and never again, and I don't remember any of it, because I was in like early middle school at that point. So I have memory hold all of that information. So as far as
I was in fucking college. I remember this coming out, and I was in college. I was studying for a fucking linear algebra exam.
Oh my gosh.
I remember it. Oh, I passed. I remember this vividly.
That's wow. That's wild. I was Jesus. Oh man.
Time flies.
That's crazy. I'm in college now. that's like a weird thought.
You hanging on? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It's balancing the college and the YouTube is the hardest part. If I were just doing college would be an easy ass thing. It would not be difficult at all.
It's all about time management, baby.
Yep. But yeah,
I find it upsetting that he kind of rescinded that for the sake of, I guess, avoiding more heat. He kind of has to do that because, I mean, you know, like negativity brings about controversy, and you know, bigger YouTubers feel immensely pressured to avoid it.
Yeah.
Just so they can keep themselves out of hot water. And now that this has become like, and now that cosmetics in general have become such a hot button issue in the TF2 sphere, I guess you're right. He feels the need to kind of distance himself from that discourse and kind of downplay it, like, oh, it's actually not that big of a deal. I'm gonna keep doing my own thing, right?
Well, yeah, like I get it. He distanced himself from TF2, like in general. So there's that. There's that additionally, but like when he said it, it was when he initially said all of this, it was nuanced or not nuanced is the wrong word. It was sort of not a popular opinion. It was something that people didn't really think of. Kind of similar to team recognition now.
No, yeah.
People hadn't really thought about, at least as far as I'm aware, based off of my knowledge of TF2 history, people hadn't really thought about this before he brought it up, and when this video received overwhelmingly positive reception, and then when you let that sort of idea like sit for a really long time, you begin to get other people who look into it a little bit deeper and go, wait a second, it's getting worse. Like, he said all of this stuff, and the problem's not improving. Like,
no, yeah, it's just been getting worse.
And
what's amazing is that it still is so infrequently spoken about, because people, like, for years in TF2, people have just kind of always accepted whatever Valve puts in the game. You get people kind of making angry posts on Reddit, like, for example, when they added like the treasure hat and the Dangeresque 2, these things back in the pan back in like 2011.
Yeah.
You know, there were some Reddit posts of guys saying, well, the art style is dead. Like, you had complaints all the way back then about this, right? But it was never put onto a big platform because, like, again, like, most people didn't really care. And then once the idea was presented to a wider audience, and it turns out the observations were not only correct but getting worse, then it started catching on. But then it died off again because, like, Funk made the video, and then he just kind of went back into doing his own thing, and everyone just kind of went back to accepting whatever Valve put in the game, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. I feel like, I think you'd agree with this, YouTube videos that are really well made, like, they'll have you coming back. And you'll especially video essays specifically, like you'll watch a video essay that's really good, and you'll have like, it'll be like, it'll stick with you, you know, whatever they said, it'll stick with you, and then years later you'll think about it and you'll want to rewatch it again. Funk's videos, I think, in their entirety are like that, because Funk just makes good videos. He does. His videos are like cream of the crop YouTube, and that's saying something because there are so many people on this platform making videos, and his videos are still like some of the best that I've ever seen in terms of production quality, writing, etc. So so it's like a good album, you know, it's a good album that you want to listen to over and over again, so people come back to it, and so they come back to this video, which hasn't changed, and then they look back at their current state of TF2 and they're like, wow, this is the same, but now it's worse. And then that's where this sort of controversy begins to start. And then you get people like you who are still talking about the issue now, because they want to see it changed or want to see it improve. And suddenly it becomes this hot button issue when like, it's really just, yeah.
It's like, to me, it's just common sense. Like, yeah, you'd want better content in the game. You'd want content that preserves the gameplay and readability. And for some reason, that's a controversial issue now.
Well, like the prop hunt thing, like with the prop hunt thing, right? Like I'm assuming you were not a huge fan of prop hunt being added to casual.
Well, for two reasons. One, it's horrible. Like it plays like absolute shit. The design choices that the developers made for VScript prop hunt make it a more miserably unfun experience than normal prop hunt. Main reason being they allowed for all 9 classes to be playable, and they did adjust like medics healing and what have you, but because you have big AoEs with soldier and demo man and you have sentries, right, it makes being a prop a lot less fun.
Yeah.
And there's a lot less challenge when it comes to like, oh, you discover the prop, like now a prop is just fucked, like you can't, sorry if I don't know
no worries.
policy is.
No worries.
like now, like the prop can't get away, and then it's the nature of it being TF2 and not a separate game engine, so you have to deal with its physics, and it's just, and for some reason they have to lower the gravity in the game mode as well, otherwise the props just can't move around. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
So that's part one, and then part two is that it's not TF2 anymore. Right now, it's just a little goofy mini game that is so far removed from what TF2 is, right? TF2 is the team-based territory control first-person shooter where you have 2 teams of 9 classes duking it out over controlling certain areas of the map.
Yeah.
Prop Hunt is just not that.
Yeah.
It's like you could make arguments for Zombie Infection and even versus Saxton Hale, it just being a big boss battle, but Prop Hunt is just hide and seek.
Yeah.
Right?
It disrupts the identity of the game. It makes it it dilutes the identity, I would say, of TF2.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially like Gary's mod is right there. It's just a better implementation of the same thing. Why would you ever want this to be the case? Like with things like versus Saxton Hale, I'm okay with it more because I don't think you could really replicate versus Saxton Hale in Gmod and maintain the same experience.
But it's also uniquely TF2.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you tried to make versus Saxton Hale in Gmod, you wouldn't be able to make as faithful of a recreation or as not well designed, but like as fitting of a
capturing like the same charm and feel.
Yeah,
thank
you. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It's yeah. I think that Prop Hunt thing, people who are saying it dilutes the identity are on the money. I've never played it. Despite how much I actually talk about this game, I don't consider myself a TF2 YouTuber, and I don't play this game like to death. I am more.
You're still allowed to talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah, no.
Because just you play 200 hours a week. You're not allowed to talk about the game.
Well, people have levied that at me will levy that at me all the time, and I
sounds stupid.
I'm a huge game design enjoyer. I don't like I will talk about games I've never played. Like in my most recent video about medics in video games, I talked about 2 games that I'm very familiar with, which are TF2 and Kingdom Hearts. And then I talked about Final Fantasy VII, which I've never played, but I knew enough about it, and I did enough research to be able to say, like, yeah, this character is similar to these other 2 characters I know from this other thing. And yeah, I think that you don't have to. It's the whole like you mentioned this with like people in the workshop community being like, oh, we shouldn't listen to people who aren't workshop artists. That's like the TF2 community. Like we shouldn't listen to people who don't play this amount of hours on TF2.
You're not part of our in-group.
No, that's exactly what it boils down to. It's like, oh, you're not one of us, therefore your opinion is invalid.
Which is stupid.
Oh my lord.
Like,
you're a dummy.
Could you address my argument? Like, okay, I'm stupid. Could you please address what I said?
Because you have a job.
No. I hate it when
I find that argument very stupid. Where it's like, oh, you mean? So I will say the argument holds water when it comes to things like game balance. Like you need to have play experience to have a weighted measure or a weighted take on like, is scout balanced or sentries bullshit, what have you, right? But when it comes to like the visual design of the game or like bare bones basic mechanics or what have you, then yeah, you don't need that much experience in the game to have like an understanding of like, oh, this is how it works and I can compare it to other games, or this is how it looks and this is why that's important, right? In terms of visual design, right?
I think when it oh, sorry, I'll let you go.
Even then, I think there is some expertise gained by making a bunch of cosmetics for a game. You can kind of start to build some like authority on the subject. I think the bigger problem there is that there isn't like, I don't agree. They're not saying I don't agree with what you think about our cosmetics, and here's an explanation why. It's more like you're not part of our small insular group that makes all the cosmetics for this game, and you're a dummy.
Yeah, it's dismissive. It's dismissive because, oh god, I've spoken about the fucking workshop to death, and I have to like make the disclaimer again that it's not everybody, it's not everyone who does this, but a lot of the bigger names and the people you see doing this are part of a more compartmentalized inner circle of hat makers, where they just they don't want any form of criticism or negativity directed towards what they make, and then they pull out that argument of like, oh, you're not a hat maker, therefore your opinion is invalid, right? They just
which is
dismiss
just not
anything.
true ever.
Yeah, they just dismiss it, which is stupid. I hate that.
For the record, at the beginning of this podcast, we established that we are we took the controversial and potentially difficult to grasp take that harassment is actually bad. So we made sure to.
Oh, God forbid you say that.
We made sure to establish that harassment is in fact not good, and you shouldn't do it. I don't know if that's a controversial.
They're leaving as we speak.
Yeah,
We're gonna get some flack.
We're gonna get some pushback from that, but I'll stand on that. Harassment is bad.
I agree.
Don't stand on people.
But yeah, no, I think even I would disagree a little bit with the idea that like I think that you are more likely to have a correct or more substantiated opinion on game design if you like study it or understand the game that you're talking about intimately. But if that is not the case, I still think that you could have a measured opinion on game design. It's just less likely to happen. Like I think a lot of people identify flaws in game design, but they just have no idea how they got to that conclusion. Like with the whole sniper thing. Like I think like Uncle Dane in his hot takes video has a thing that we didn't go over today, but he said that people who think sniper's overpowered think that because he's unfun to fight against. And I agree. I agree, but that does not mean that there is no problem. Like,
no, it's so funny because he contradicts himself in that entire bit where he says, "Oh, sniper's not overpowered; he's just unfun to play against," but then suggests making changes to his base kit so that the problem of his over oppressiveness is dealt with, which is by definition a nerf.
Yeah, it's literally it's an objective issue with it. You were trying to identify an objective issue with his game design, but yet you're trying to say like, oh no, it's just how you feel. Like it's like no,
right.
There's definitely a problem.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. But no, you bring up a very good point, and I think that's what I'm sorry, I don't see the names on Discord, so I'm not sure who brought up the point initially. But when it comes to making items, yeah, you do gain like the mechanical prowess of being able to make items. But then if you study the game and you make a lot of items within the context of the game, then that gives you a lot more authority and a lot more weight in your words for saying what does and does not appropriately fit. And then this goes back to like, I think my favorite analogy for all this is like a chef and their food, right? Like a food critic probably doesn't know how to cook, but they know when food tastes bad.
Yes.
Right? And so they can say, "Oh, you burnt my steak, and it's inedible, and I don't want this." Then, but you can't say, "Oh, you're not a chef. You just can't you just can't appreciate what I've done."
Yeah.
Right.
Or a movie critic.
Within the
context
of what a good steak should be, they screwed up.
Yeah. Or like a movie critic who hasn't made movies before.
Exactly.
Most
and
movie
like
critics
you said,
have not.
You can identify a problem without really knowing how it got there, but you know it by seeing it.
Yeah, and you can
very fair point.
And you could also identify fixes for the problem that are reasonable. Like you could like without having like I don't need to have written a novel to understand that if a character in a gritty war movie were to suddenly sprout wings and fly away, that would probably be bad. Like because especially if it were say to save themselves from certain death. In the middle of like the climax of the film, that would probably be a bad thing and take away from the stakes. But I don't need to write a novel to tell you that. I can just know things about writing and how it works.
Exactly.
So like I think that this I think that covers it. It's basically just the argument from authority fallacy. I know that's like a meme, but it's true.
It's not wrong.
Yeah, it's true. It's just like, oh, I know more. I've done this for longer than you, or I know more about this than you. Therefore, I'm right and you're wrong. Which is like, no, just Can you address why what I said is incorrect? Like on the merits of the thing I said, please. Thank you.
Exactly.
Anyways, I think we were watching this funk video.
Somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
It seems like Valve has stopped adding these multi-class updates, which is good because they were getting kind of ridiculous, but the fact that they were allowed through in the first place to this degree...
I'd like to just point out, they have not stopped, have they?
Have stopped what?
because he says like I'm glad they've stopped adding these multi-class updates. Is he referring? They haven't, right? Like they still do it.
Well, they don't update cosmetics to become multi-class, I think is what he was saying.
Oh, okay. That's all excuse.
But they still add a lot of multi-class cosmetics that now have to be modeled for every class to wear them.
Yeah, which is a problem, or can be a problem. I shouldn't say it is, but it certainly can be.
Yeah.
What happened to item descriptions? You know, these things, they stopped adding them after 2014 for seemingly no reason. And given the current ratio of TF2's developers looks something like this, I don't get why they can't knock out a few item descriptions. I know this sounds trivial, but hear me out, item descriptions are pretty important. They taught us that Scout is canonically a pedophile, and if that isn't enough reason to bring them back, I don't know what is.
I just... Scout being a pedophile aside, I wanted to just say that, Zesty, I'm not sure, I don't think you know this, but I did do a series where I'm trying to catalog every single reference in the entire game. I'm going through every single hat at the moment and trying to find every single thing that is referenced.
Like external references to like media and things.
Yeah. And item descriptions, seeing the item descriptions go away as I go through like the timeline of releases is so sad.
I know, they were so charming and they were fun. I loved these during the earlier days, man.
Like I did Heavy's hats most recently, and there's I forget, I think it's the Gym Rat. The Gym Rat has the "Let's Get Physical" as like as the song, just like the classic '80s like workout video song, and it's like, man, I miss that shit. Shit was great.
Me too. It's such a shame they didn't bring that back.
Yeah,
I wish they did.
But yeah, I just wanted to say. Alan, do you have thoughts on Scout being a pedophile?
I knew it.
You knew it?
I knew it. I tried to warn people.
Yeah.
I kind of hate that.
I kind of hate that this is true as well.
I kind of hate that the title of the name of the item is the Track Terrorizer.
It's so funny. It's really
goes on to explain the nature of the terrorizing.
Oh, it's so fucked. Oh, I love it.
It's pretty great. And by great I mean awful, but you know what I mean.
Wait, is it Scout Germa?
I'll look again.
No,
yes.
no mind.
No,
Yeah.
we don't want to tie these things
He's
together.
implicated
We're not
in
doing
this.
that.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
Sorry, I got distracted.
This guy's funk video, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted. My bad. We're gonna keep going.
7 years ago, Valve held a hat describing contest, and I don't understand why they haven't done it again. I've emailed about it 3 times over the last 4 years, but the only time they've ever responded to me was when I was looking for a cactus or when I wanted to scream freely. So I don't expect to hear...
I just wanted, because I, like I said, haven't seen this video since the Dark Ages, so I didn't remember anything from it, and when we read Funk's comments about the video before watching it, and it's kind of wild because I genuinely, he made it sound like he just railed on Valve for 7 minutes and 40 seconds. And he's been like relatively nice to Valve. Like he hasn't even really been that mean about it. He's mostly been talking about the cosmetics themselves and only alludes to Valve when it comes to like why things are the way they are. I don't. It seems like
you will not bully the multi-billion-dollar company.
What? That's like,
have some respect.
That's not even like necessarily the. I also agree that it's funny to like defend Valve because like when people are criticizing $1 million company. But like I was also just making the point like it seems so strange that he characterized his own video as like if he like let's say like I saw someone on Twitter being like, all Funk says in that video, or the majority of what Funk says in that video, just boils down to Valve bad and Valve lazy. I don't understand. I'd be like, well, that's not true. But then you like zoom out and you see the username and it's Funk, and you're like, wait a second. Why did?
Oh yeah, the video is not.
Did
that
you watch
at
your
all.
own video?
It was like that's not what you said. It was
If anything, I've been more abusive towards Valve over the years.
Yeah, no,
infinitely more so.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've been
What?
Sorry, I got I got distracted because there's an espresso machine going off in my room. I've been watching your stuff, Zesty, since I was in high school, like for 3 to 4 years now.
Cool.
Yeah, I've been a fan for a while. So yeah, you absolutely have been much harsher toward Valve over the years, and it's wild to see this video, which to me seems really tame by comparison, be characterized by its own creator in such a way to where
I guess that just shows the difference in perspective between what is and is not overly critical or harsh from person to person, right? Because if Funk characterizes this video as just nothing but whining at Valve, like how would he view what I do? Right?
Well, yeah.
Would it just be incoherent rage babble?
Yeah, just like Valve bad for like 40 minutes.
Yeah,
he starts
I don't know,
immediately sobbing the moment he starts the video. It's just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon, and all the like swear words are thrown out of the screen. They hit him in the face. He's like, ah. Yeah, I think that this is all fine. I certainly would not describe any of this as irresponsible.
No, it's not at all.
He hasn't said anything about like the people who make these. And even when he's talking about Valve, he's like, they just slow. He doesn't even say things that are like mean. He just says things that are true. He just says like,
these are all just observations.
Yeah, it's just like
lighthearted observations.
Like over time, Valve added less content that was closer to the time period. And then it's like, oh, it's so mean of him to say that. It's just true. I don't know.
Yeah, silly.
From the Ooh, hey, pause the video. I just got an item drop. That's actually perfect, because it leads to my next point. Cases suck. 1, you have to actually collect the case before you can open it, which means you have to earn or buy a chance to buy a chance to buy a chance uncrated, ungrade, unusual hat. 32 duplicates, 0 unusuals, and I didn't even get every fucking item in the case!
It's kind of crazy that this is just like the standard now. If anything, things have gotten worse since this video came back.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, like with like the loot boxes and the battle pass system is just like
across games in general is getting egregiously bad because you strike players with the fear of missing out on your content, and then they're more likely to buy into whatever gambling systems you have in place.
Yeah. Do you play have you played Deep Rock Galactic before?
I love DRG. It's so fun.
It's so great, and the way cosmetics work in that is mwah.
That's so much better. I love that shit. I'm always for. I love their system so much more than other games.
It's so good. I just like why
it's
does
one
it?
of the best examples of how to implement cosmetics.
I cannot think of a better one. Like off the top of my head, I cannot think of a better cosmetic system.
I think I much prefer when all content in a game is available at all times without having to deal with artificial scarcity or artificial rarity for the sake of creating an in-game microeconomy.
Yeah.
Because then you're at the mercy of artificial supply and demand, and ultimately things get bought up by a small handful of people, and you're just never able to engage with the content. So then you're kind of forced to either buy something directly or engage with the gambling systems, which is exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah.
Games that have like a store or a means by which to acquire all the cosmetics without having to do that is a lot nicer, in my opinion.
I would agree. I wish there might be a game like this. I don't know. I would be fine with the artificial scarcity if there were if real life money was not involved. Like if there was a game where you unlocked cosmetics that were scarce, but you couldn't. It was all through in-game actions of some kind, and you could buy
rare drop.
Yeah, you could buy and trade those in a microeconomy. That sounds great. I'm pretty sure. No, wait, no, that's not true. I was gonna say
that's just still what TF2 would be, right?
Yeah, if there were no if there was no
there would
money,
have to be no in-game economy.
Yeah.
In order for that to hold water.
Well, like you could have an in-game economy, but I just don't want it to be dependent on like an actual financial purchase that I'm making with US dollars. You know.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like have like just in-game currency of some
yeah,
kind,
that you can accumulate
money out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then
that would also be not bad.
Yeah, I would enjoy, because I think that the TF2 economy is fascinating. Like from a economic perspective, I think it's really interesting. But I want that, but without the real world money, greedy company
But
ooga
Levi,
booga.
how would Valve make like 3% on every transaction?
That's a good question. How
It's
would
all about, dude, it's all about key sales. The bulk of the money comes from key sales for TF2. It's insane.
Really? It's still there's still most of it comes from opening boxes.
Oh my god, yeah. So if Valve throws in 2 to 3 boxes into the game a year, and that's just the hats, sometimes war paints. War paints make about 25 to 45% of what a normal hat box does, based off of my math and what other workshoppers have told me. But because they have direct access to key sales statistics, because that's where their money comes from, and even though they're not supposed to share it, people have shared it with me. And if I keep it vague and not say who did what, then I can get away with it. But when it comes to the amount of money that Valve earns off of community market transactions, it is paled by how much money they make off of one new case. So every time they throw a new case in the game, dependent on its popularity, they make in the ballpark of $7 to $10 million within the opening months.
Wild. I figured it would have been on the transactions.
I mean, those add up to like an additional, maybe 50 to 60% of that. Right. Again, entirely because most of the market transactions come from bulk items like keys, but when it comes to individual items like hats or stranges or what have you, those move a lot more slowly.
Yeah.
So it's mostly key sales or case sales. Those are the two highest volume sales things on the community market, and most of those happen again within the opening months of an update.
Yeah.
And since those are like 3%, and most of the sales for keys happen within the first couple of weeks of an update. Again, it doesn't ever reach how much an individual box earns from direct key purchases on the Manco store.
Yeah, when you spell it out like that, it's wild the scale of these things, and it's all for like a digital. It's an NFT basically, except
it's insane.
You don't actually have proof that you own it.
Oh, I know, right? And what's funny is like TF2's economy is so tiny in comparison to CS:GO.
Yeah, no, CS:GO is the big leagues.
Yeah, like for comparison. Not to derail. I'm sorry. It's like cut me off.
No worries.
Cut me off if you need me to. But if you compare one TF2 hat case to one CS:GO case, one TF2 hat box makes around, let's say 7 figures, right? 7 to high 7-figure range. One CS:GO case in the opening month makes about 8 to 9. So CS:GO earns billions of dollars a year, whereas TF2 earns, $10 to $30 million a year for Valve.
Absolutely
which is nuts.
That's ridiculous.
Why make games when you can sell NFTs?
Yeah, and that's just key sales. It's not that doesn't include other purchases on the stores. That doesn't include market transactions. That's just opening cases.
Jesus, that's ridiculous.
It's insane.
It's all just pixels basically on the screen.
And you own nothing. None of it's real. And Valve can just turn it off at any time.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
It's the problem I had with like Hearthstone. Like at least if you're into Magic, you have the cards.
Like physically.
Hearthstone, you're gambling on card packs that you don't even actually own anything at the end of it.
Yeah, and then when the game dies.
Yeah,
bye.
You're down thousands of dollars,
Bye. Yeah, and that will inevitably happen,
Yeah.
To continue getting off of the original topic of this discussion, I was. Have you seen Zesty? Have you seen Implement's rare items video by chance?
Yes, I have.
What are your thoughts on? I don't know any of that, because I think the point, if I remember correctly, I haven't seen it in a minute, but the point he makes in that video is like, whether it's digital or physical, the point is that we as humans give it value, and therefore it's important on a historical level.
I agree with that, because when it comes to serviceable goods, food, means of transportation, those things have value because we need them to function and survive. But when it comes to art, when it comes to, things that are really only purchased for their aesthetic, right? Trinkets and collectibles and what have you.
Yeah.
Those serve no real purpose other than to entertain, and then we put our own weighted value in those, and that does give them historical worth. He's not wrong, right? And if you never put worth into Van Gogh, he's remained a nobody, then his paintings may as well just be oil on paper and nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I was just curious because he uses the example of the Burning Flame team captain as his like starting point, and I thought it was interesting to start at the place of like pixels on the screen, and then you eventually like graduate from pixels on the screen to getting like coins and stamps and the Mona Lisa, and it's like I think the progression of that is interesting because it all comes down to the same fundamental point of like, this is history, this is art, this is stuff that we put value into because of what it stands for, what it means, rather than what it is. I think that's interesting.
Exactly, but the difference is one is physical and is real and tangible. Yeah. The other is zeros and ones on some server in some musty basement in India that will just go away one day, and that's why NFT people like. That's why they had like this big crash of NFTs. Like, oh, there's no real value in these. It's just a picture. It's not even backed up by a blockchain.
Yeah, like physical.
It's not yours unless it's in your hands.
Yeah. Well, even then, right? Like
even then, it's only yours if you can stop other people from taking it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Because like, what I mean.
Because like the Mona
and I think that's where a lot of the value comes from, right? That's why physical art and coins and collectibles are always going to be so much more valuable than anything inside of a video game.
Like it's interesting because like I think it's interesting if you like, I don't think this is an equivalent situation, but it's similar. Like the Mona Lisa is the property of France, like the country. So if you France hypothetically could just choose to burn the Mona Lisa on a whim, and like that would be the equivalent of like Valve just shutting down servers and all of the hats being lost, but like on a worldwide, massively important scale.
Thing is, I think I kind of disagree with that because when it comes to the Mona Lisa, there will only and always forever be one. There was only one Da Vinci. There's only one Mona Lisa that he made. Whereas something that exists in a digital sense can be perfectly recreated because all it is just code.
That's fair.
It's all just code. It can be made a perfect carbon copy, and what have you. That's why things like
there's no way to tell the original.
That's why things like dupes are so shady for video game trading, right? Whereas like a counterfeit in real world, like a counterfeit Louis Vuitton purse or something is like, oh yeah, that's obviously a fake and therefore has less value.
Yeah, that's actually fair. I hadn't considered that. You're right. Because that would be like if you like recreated, because someone in chat said like, isn't there a second Mona Lisa? And of course there's not. But if you had like a recreation of the Mona Lisa, like a reprint, then those would go up in value because now the original doesn't exist.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. And of course, to the untrained eye, if you put like an expert's recreation next to the real one, you wouldn't be able to tell. But there are physical means of being able to discern which one's the real and which one's the fake, and that's what gives it the value.
Absolutely, man.
Fake Jordans.
So true. Anyways, Funk. I'm sorry. We keep cutting. We keep cutting you off. We keep cutting him off.
There's less than 20 items. 2. Class distribution is always uneven. Wow, look at all these scout cosmetics. Wow, look at all these engineer cosmetics. Wow, look at all these scout cosmetics. Wow, look at all those heavy cosmetics. 3. Sets are arbitrarily broken up, like this one.
I don't know how you guys feel about this. I don't think class distribution is necessarily a problem.
I kind of disagree because I mean, it's not a problem. But I think it's important to try to keep an equal volume of variety for all of the classes. Like, for example, Pyro has 3 times as many items as Spy does.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I agree.
Yeah.
I guess...
But beyond that, it's not really a problem, I don't think.
I guess what I mean... I guess a better way to phrase what I mean is, like... I guess what I'm actually trying to say, it's not relevant to the point this video is trying to make.
Oh no, yeah, this is like another. Yeah,
that's like unrelated to the art style. Is just like some classes have more hats than other classes, and that's kind of
that's
crappy.
You're right. You're correct.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Or this one. Or this one. Or this one.
Oh Jesus! Sorry, I want to bring him back so I know what he actually said.
3. Sets are arbitrarily broken up, like this one.
Oh, because from the workshop. Okay, never mind. I understand.
or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. 4. Valve applies tiers to every case cosmetic, which leads to artificial rarity and therefore price inflation, the highest tiered slot becoming an excuse to add a gaudy cosmetic. Nobody will buy keys otherwise. Item border confusion because they couldn't fucking think to use some.
What?
I would say not true entirely. Like, yeah, having the highest tier be a blatant excuse for a goofy item. Not all elite grades are goofy. Oh, most of them are, but there are some that look like genuine hats. So
I think that if Valve did that intentionally, I would not be surprised if they carried it over from a single player trope and didn't think about it. Because in a lot of single player games, the rarest items are the ones that are goofy or silly. Like I cannot think of an example off the top. The Minecraft pickaxe in Skyrim or something like similar.
Yeah.
Like a lot of rare items in video games in single player games are the ones that are super goofy.
No, yeah, and shoot, I had a thought and I lost it. Damn it. No, yeah, and I think that's important to maintain is that like the ones that are very immersion breaking, for lack of a better phrase, should remain rare. So it's a good thing that the goofy ones are contained in the elite grade, but they kind of deviated away from that in recent years, so it defeated that purpose entirely.
They said, what if all of them were goofy?
Yeah, what if everything is just silly and wacky? Yeah.
What if we were Fortnite? Fortnite make money.
Yeah. Peter Griffin's in there now.
Oh no.
Is he?
Yeah, Peter Griffin is now in Fortnite, guys.
Yes.
What's next?
Yes. Gosh, I wish Peter Griffin were in Team Fortress 2 as the 10th class. That'd be great.
No.
He would have no ability. He would just die. That'd be great.
He would just spawn and die. That's it. Doesn't even leave the spawn room.
Yeah, that'd be great. He could have unlockable weapons that he never gets to use.
Yeah.
He has no idea how to use them. He pulls them out, he just looks at them and then dies.
Something that isn't purple. God damn it! The workshop has become extremely unfavorable to community contributors. Cosmetic cases are rarely added.
True.
Items are no longer
Which part?
The community is becoming, the workshop is becoming increasingly unfavorable to community contributors because Valve. I'm not sure what exact point he was trying to make to this, but it's a true statement in that over the years, it's a lot harder for new creators to have an item put in the game.
Yeah.
Valve began focusing on accepting most content from a smaller and smaller group of people. It's how it started. It started from a small group of people, then it widened, and now the funnel has narrowed once again back to a smaller group of people. So now if you want to like get into item creation, it's now, I think, harder than ever before to even have a chance of getting your work added to the game, even if it is of objectively high quality and fitting for TF2.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. Is my understanding might be off because I'm not really plugged into the TF2 cosmetic community that much, but like you're being banned from the Emporium. If that was like if that was like, hey guys, come over to my house, we're gonna make a mod for TF2, right? Them banning you would be fine because that's like their group, they can do what they want, right? But if that is the way where 95% of cosmetics get added to the game, it's kind of the what was, damn it, the public squares, the public square of TF2 cosmetic modding, right?
No, yeah, you're
and to be banned from that is like, oh, you're not allowed to be in public. You're not allowed to or the way you're talking is harmful to the fabric of society or whatever, right?
No, and that is ultimately why I was banned, and verbatim from their mod, I am incompatible with their creators.
Such a fascinating, like the way it's worded is so wild to me. Like they were like, you could literally be doing everything right, we'd still kick you out because you like harm the atmosphere.
It's sociopolitics is what it is. Not to get political, but that's the only reason is sociopolitics. That's what it all comes back to.
It's so fascinating. I just like, I just don't understand. I know this isn't like confined. I know very well that this is not confined to TF2, but it's just wild to me It's like, oh no, that person has bad think. Them being here, regardless of if they even say anything about their opinions, them being here is too harsh. We need to kick them out.
It's harmful. It's dangerous. They must be removed.
It's
it's
like,
silly.
Oh, that's wild. Also, Tired Dice in chat responded to someone asking what's going on, and they said we have a realistic AI Zesty to discuss certain topics.
It's crazy how advanced it's getting.
it's
like he's really here.
It's like he's really here.
Please enter a prompt.
That's pretty good.
Audio jungle.
Audio jungle.
Yeah, no. There will be this will be re-uploaded as a VOD, by the way, for people asking.
Added, no longer.
I wanted to say, if I were making this video, I don't mean to criticize, the god of YouTube, but if I were making this video, I would have said more things about each of these topics, even if it's like a short blurb, because I think a lot of this could be misinterpreted or deserves elaboration, in a longer video. But
favorable to community contributors, cosmetic cases are rarely added, items are no longer purchasable from the store, and revenue is so diluted through key sales that most successful item makers won't be deriving much profit, if any, after the crate series ends. I know you probably understood zero of anything I just said, but trust me, it's important. I apologize if you find...
See, even he, knows that, he should have said more things, but he just didn't for some reason. And, I don't know. Maybe the video wouldn't be so palatable to such a wide audience if he had said more and decided instead of just...
The fact that it's short and sweet is one of the main reasons why it did so well.
I agree.
Not to water down the importance of this video, but the fact it's short is why it hit home very hard, because it was short, terse, to the point, done.
Yeah, it's almost like a whirlwind of a bunch of things that were said and with minor visual substantiation, and that minor visual substantiation is all you really need. Because in terms of an actual, if you were to view this as from an argumentative perspective, this has not been great. From if you were trying to convince someone who did not believe that, which might be, by the way, why it has a negative reputation, is it's more of an identification of a problem with some examples rather than a straight here's my problem, here's evidence, let me break down how this evidence relates to this problem, let me move on to the next piece of evidence and continue, and then the video is 30 minutes long. And
it's just here is the problem, that's it.
Yep, that's it. that's
and it's not that doesn't make it inherently bad, but I think it's because of the whole changing social structure of social media and what have you, where nowadays, back when this video came out, this was fine, this is a problem, and it was a perfectly acceptable means of content. But now if you pose a problem, people now almost see that as bullying unless you really break it down and provide passive suggestions as solutions.
Well, I also think that I don't even know if it's a time thing. Long form content just wasn't nearly as accepted generally on YouTube when this came out.
Of course.
And this, in my opinion, certainly deserves a longer, even pushing an hour probably video about really breaking down all of these individual issues, because you could really do it.
You're doing right now.
Yeah,
on this podcast.
Yeah,
this is a podcast, right?
This is the first episode of what will become a podcast. Yeah.
It's what you're doing right now. This is the definition of that type of long form content, breaking it down.
Yeah, that's the goal. The whole point of the show is to take videos and basically put them under review, put them under a microscope, and figure out what makes them work or not work.
And see if we can't come up with a theme at the end of it.
Yeah, some sort of nice little bow, a nice little message. Don't harass people. That's a good one. But yeah, no, I think that this video probably could have done with just a little bit more elaboration on some of the things that he means, especially because
you're right.
Yeah, especially just because I feel like if he had, then a lot of people wouldn't be like, this is the video officer, this is the one that killed everything. Because if he had really broken it down, I don't think it would have been as arguable that it's oh, this is irresponsible.
No, yeah, because he doesn't really back up his statements. He just presents like, this is a problem. It doesn't really elaborate as to why.
Yeah.
Like, again, like with that scrolling list, it's like he hits you with, there's not enough hat cases. Whoa, what is that supposed to mean? Because like in the context of back then, you got what, 1 or 2 a year, but now we get 3.
Yeah, right.
So.
And it also gives people wiggle room to be like, well, that's not really exactly true in the way that he said it. And he could have all the references in the world, but if he doesn't put them in the video, it's like, well,
Right.
Yeah. Also, a Tired Dice in chat, I just wanted to elaborate. I didn't say it was the best superpower. I just said it was overpowered, okay?
What?
I said that super speed was the most overpowered superpower.
You did say that, didn't you?
And I will stand on that opinion.
Like the Tired Dice said, give me a month. Like, you're not getting prep time for this, man.
Yeah, you're not getting. There's no prep time. Prep time is actually the most overpowered superpower. Prep time allows anyone to win a fight if you just give them enough time. It's great. But that's like why never mind. I'm not gonna get into it. That's why.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's like why super speed is like such a big deal, is because it's basically just giving you more time than everybody else.
Yeah, infinite. You can have infinite time.
Yeah, depending on like what you want to pull from for it, and the places that don't really acknowledge that, they're just like, it's like the big elephant in the room that they just don't touch. But yeah, no, the superpower is.
I wonder if Funk discussed it in this video.
Could you imagine if there was a part of this video where Funk randomly brings up super speed as being the most overpowered superpower? He's like, anyway.
Oh, hey, by the way, super speed is insanely overpowered. Anyways, back to TF2.
Have you heard of Scout?
I hate raids.
Language unusuals have always been gaudy, but every generation has become more gaudy than the last. Gen 1 had some fire and some nuts. And some green lights. Now we have demons vomiting bones, skeletons dancing under a disco ball, a portal to hell opening under your feet. Are you sure this game's not satanic?
That's crazy. You say that almost exact thing word for word in one of your videos, don't you, Zesty?
Which part exactly?
When we started, we had fire and like you give like the same examples too. I'm trying to remember which one it is.
No, yeah, I know I've said this probably multiple times, either in my videos or in my streams, but unusual effects used to be markedly more visually fitting for the game, if you can even say that about unusual effects.
Yeah.
But now they've just gotten so far out there in being flashier and gaudier more and more and more, because that's what Valve seems to want to pick, instead of more unique, individually designed particle animations that kind of at least loosely fit more so with the, you can't really even say tones or themes or stylization, they're just not as gaudy, right? It's like sunbeams, subtle but still noticeable, flames, that's okay, but now you have like sparkly deer antlers and an axe, a neon green axe sticking out of someone's head, or like 5 different versions of RGB lights.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think fire is just the easiest one. I think you could have added fire and not even made like a thing. You could just add like, oh, all the cosmetics can be on fire, and that's like the rarest variant. You could just stopped there. Because I think fire is just the easiest one. Fire's like, people can be on fire in real life.
Yeah.
Like that. I think
can we get a clip of that?
people can be on fire in real life. Oh gosh. No, I think fire is like the most acceptable one, and everything afterwards is like
Yeah, like Gen 1 unusual effects are generally the more, I should say, all Valve-made effects have a certain amount of Valve flair to them. Like, you can tell it's a Valve-made particle effect, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the animations, in terms of how they're stylized as a particle effect. They look like Valve particle effects. But as soon as Valve kind of passed it off to the community, initially, community-made effects still looked like Valve effects, right? Like, for example, the end-of-the-line effects were all, those were all community-made, and those still loosely tied with, how they the pre-existing standard. And then it just kind of started getting worse and worse and worse with, like, things getting too fluid or too neon, or just way too far out there. And without Valve kind of acting as the grounding authority of like what's okay for a particle effect, it kind of just got too nuts.
Yeah, I agree.
An orbiting ash-covered smoldering rubber duck, an orbiting ash-covered scorching live bat. This one is just boxes. I'm almost convinced this one was made on accident, to be honest.
See, like, I guess what I understand. Like, here's the thing, right? I get what he's saying. I understand what he's saying, but just like part of me just wishes instead of having like 10 examples, you could have had 2, and you could have just explained in detail why those 2, you know, weren't good, and you could have stopped. Like, cause like if I disagreed with him, right, this would not convince me because you haven't laid it out. You've just been like, well, these are boxes, and I'm like, what's wrong with boxes? Like, you haven't explained like why like boxes is bad, you know?
Right.
Granted, but that's not to say I disagree. I just, yeah.
No, yeah. Again, it's just the presentation of the problem, and then nothing else.
Yeah.
Honest, unusuals have always kind of been ugly, but they've definitely gotten worse over the years. Oh, that's the cowbell. You guys know what the cowbell stands for?
It's time for a lightning round.
Pink and lime are oversaturated and look bad on most things that aren't a hat.
They look bad on hats.
They look bad on everything.
They look bad. They look bad
Period.
Universally. I don't know why he even added the caveat. I just was gonna say it looks bad.
Yeah, it's just bad. Just they should have never been put in the game. Period.
Alan, Angel, thoughts on pink and lime on hats?
Bright. Neon.
That's just true.
Stimulation.
Splatoon.
Yo, in Splatoon it looks great. You step away from Splatoon. Splatoon has a great art style.
Okay.
I'll kill you.
Like, pink and lime, I do like those colors. Not together. Don't come at me. It's just like, TF2 does not need pink or.
I agree.
There are places where pink and lime works, and that is Sonic fan art, and that's it.
Sonic fan.
I agree.
Oh no.
Yeah, let's go.
I want the I think it'd be great to have like the Splatoon 2 like cover where it's like the Inkling covered in the pink and lime paint, but it's just Zesty's avatar and he looks pissed.
Oh no.
He's just
Someone will do that now, I guarantee.
That's great.
I searched your username on Google Images and it was a mistake.
You did what?
Yeah,
I searched your
at the start
username
of this
on
stream,
Google
I
Images.
had to ask why
there's
your name
artwork.
was.
It's art for sure. It's like the Mona Lisa. There's a
It's like
There's artwork.
it's like the Mona Lisa. Ain't Alan talking about ZestyJesus fan art.
It would be a loss for humanity if it were burned by the French government.
By the French government specifically.
Black and white are too saturated and don't have any toned down alternatives.
That's not right.
How can you oversaturate?
Yeah, I was gonna
completely undersaturated.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, yeah. So flat black and flat white. You know, like FFFF and 0000.
Yeah.
Those are like the definition of oversaturation, and there's not a single instance of that in TF2 anywhere. And so, you can have desaturated black, which of course goes into gray territory. You can have desaturated white, which isn't just flat white, and that looks better in the washed out pastel-y nature of TF2's color palette.
I did not know that you would consider white or black like 000FFF as like desaturated. I did not know that.
I don't understand the color.
That's the definition of oversaturation. You have to like tone it down further down on the scale to make them not so, because like when you do that in the context of the game, it just looks like untextured stuff.
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't
just
look
so
right.
bright. It's bright.
Yeah, I agree. That's contrast, not saturate. No, contrast is a different thing. I know that's wrong. Contrast is entirely different. Contrast is how far apart. Oh, my brain! I haven't done photo things.
Color theory.
Still, I do think like black and white stick out more so because of the contrast than the oversaturation. That's definitely a part of it, but I'm thinking I'm like
you are
trying to
right.
put it in
You
places.
are correct.
It would harm the game more because they contrast really heavily with
everything else.
Everything else,
yeah. You're exactly right, because at least with green and pink, that's still, pink is, in the territory of red hues. Green is in the territory of blue hues. So those, if you really had to stretch it, still mix into the game's color palette more than flat black and flat white, which are devoid of color or have all of the color and neither fit contextually within the game. Because it's either all red or blue or earthy tones and not solid black or solid white.
Yeah, I agree.
TF2 uses such it has such amazing use of desaturated colors, or like relatively desaturated colors, like the maps. beautifully made, but they rarely use saturation unless it's like the arrows or the player characters themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I think you covered that in your video, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the map makers the original map makers deliberately placed small areas of saturation to remind players of where they are and where to go. You know, capture points, directional arrows, and then of course the team colors on the player models. They put saturation where your eyes need to go.
Yeah, I agree. Cool.
Paints have existed for 7 years and there still isn't a dark brown.
Isn't there a dark brown? Isn't Radagaster brown a thing? Or is that not dark enough?
Radigan Conacher brown is technically not a dark brown. It's the best we have.
Okay. Also, I said Radagast. That's the fucking witch.
Radagast the brown.
Yeah, I was thinking of the wizard from Lord of the Rings.
Hobbit mentioned.
Yes. What the fuck is a coherent trilogy?
Are prone to noticeable lighting errors. Beard flexes are completely inverted client side. Cosmetics are constantly clipping. Equip regions are flawed and prevent.
I don't think they're. I might be overstepping. I don't know if there's a way you could have this many cosmetics in the game and have them all not clip.
Yeah.
At this stage, it's impossible.
It would be like a Herculean task at this point. Like there's
Unless
so many
you give them like collision meshes.
Yeah.
Or just make them incompatible with items they clip with. Right.
Yeah.
But then it would really fuck with, loadout variation, and that would piss people off.
Yeah. Agreed.
Constantly clipping. Equip regions are flawed and prevent a lot of ordinary combos. Team recognition!
There it is.
Hooray.
There it is.
That's crazy how.
Reference to ZestyJesus.
That's.
Is this real? Is this a real cosmetic set?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the war hood and the heavy lifter.
Yeah, the heavy. I recognize the heavy lifter.
What team is this guy?
I'm guessing red, but only because of like the bottom left portion of the bandolier.
Yeah, it's also the default in for literally everything. It just goes to red, so it's probably red.
No.
I'm guessing blue to be contrarian.
There you go. I mean it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
I'm guessing spectator.
That's
fuck you.
That's crazy that Funk talked about something that's like really boring, and people still like watch the video. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, man. I wish you talked about the Frontier Justice.
Hey, wait a second. Wait a second. There wasn't a content drought when this came out. Updates were still getting released. What the fuck?
That's true.
Wait a second. Why was he talking about team recognition then? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's such an uninteresting topic.
Yeah, I don't get it. This doesn't make any sense.
No, I think I still don't understand why Dane posed it that way. I think to him it's not important because it's not something he actively thinks about. It's just not on his radar, and so to him, it's of course not a big deal. So he just kind of like did this hand wavy thing of like, oh yeah, this really isn't worth talking about.
It's just strange. He says a lot of really strange things in that video.
I want to believe that, but also then he combines it with your video was irresponsible.
Yeah,
or irresponsibly formulated or something like that.
Irresponsibly constructed.
I think he's more referring to like the latter part of the video
that
where
workshop.
I kind of I put more of the blame on the workshoppers than most people would think I need to do.
So then what about this one then? Is this like Valve? You're irresponsibly upset at Valve?
I guess. I mean,
he like barely talks. He's like said like 2 things about Valve this entire video.
Yeah.
And
it's no a direct mean statement at Valve, I guess.
Yeah, like how could you even? I don't understand.
How dare you?
I'm gonna say it. Valve has made some mistakes at some point.
That's undeniably true.
That's an understatement.
Look, I'm gonna go on a limb. I think that there are some workshop artists who have also made mistakes at some point, and they shouldn't have made those mistakes.
Wow, what a novel idea.
Yeah,
that is harassment, and I am going to report you to Gabe Newell.
No, please.
Yeah, next you're gonna say harassment is bad or something insane.
I just got here. Please don't report me.
Imagine you just installed the game.
Okay.
What team is this?
What? Okay, wait.
That's pretty bad, honestly.
This is really.
I mean,
bad.
we can all tell, right, guys?
I mean,
we can tell
if you
because we've been
just
playing the game
installed
for a
it.
while. But
I mean,
anyone
yeah.
who just installed the game, it's like, what the fuck?
It's like what I was saying about League earlier, how the skin's just like that character doesn't look like how that character looks.
yeah, this is. It's also extra funny because he's A-posing, but the like I know because the certain color of yellow and the certain color of red on the sleeves means that he's red. But like, if I had no idea, it'd be like,
The blue's
yeah,
too dark
if
as
you're a
well.
fresh install, you have no idea.
yeah, you literally no clue.
I have like
team is
about 500 hours in this game. I was confused for a good like minute.
There's a
I'm
spy.
gonna be real, man. That had me for a loop.
Yeah. This is probably like, I would imagine that if people were like, what's a good point that was made in this video, this is what most people would say, I feel.
Yeah, this is probably the most, because this one impacts the gameplay, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, it's like the most weighted of all of his points.
It's also funny, and it's like entirely self-explanatory. So like, I think it hits a lot of people on a personal level more so.
Yeah.
What team is this? Okay, well that one doesn't really count. I did it a couple years ago using a bug, but it's still a problem. And this doesn't really mean anything, but the Screaming Eagle added during the end of the line update, never actually an end of the line. Valve forgot to remove it from the crate before they released it. They also forgot to add the cold...
If I remember correctly, the Screaming Eagle is in reference to the Screaming Eagles, which is a World War II bomber pilot squadron.
Hey guys, if you want to learn more about soldiers' hats,
No,
check out Levi's video.
don't watch the soldier one. The soldier one's the worst one. I make
That's
multiple mistakes. I feel
true,
really bad.
not to...
It's really bad. It's like the worst
Check
video
out
I've
the
ever
Scout
made.
one.
Check out all the ones except for the soldier one. I just
Hey,
never.
Jack, what if you just subscribed?
No,
Like,
no chat. You don't have to do that. It's okay. Subscribe to ZestyJesus on YouTube.
snap coat and had to add it later. So, you know, good job, Valve. I know this whole video really makes me come off as a hard-ass.
What the fuck?
Not really. Not really.
Literally not at all. Especially compared to stuff that's said today. Also, I'm just gonna read this real quick. This is just what he said. It is fucking. This is when he walked back the video. This is just what he said to himself. It's fucking hilariously ironic. Like this comment that he's writing as a joke for what someone might say about him is like the same thing he said about himself 6 years later.
Yeah, and now that's actually kind of shocking. I didn't even realize
That's
that
amazing.
until you pause this. Wow.
Yeah,
That's funny. It's okay.
yeah, it's funny. It's not a big deal. And then he makes a joke about at the end about how it's a one-off visual gag, and most people who paused the video probably didn't read their message. It's almost like he knew.
Here we are.
It's almost
years
like he knew.
later.
But I don't care that much about them pushing the art style. You know, the buds are pretty minimalistic, and Pyro wearing a boot on his head isn't really gonna hurt anybody. But there's a pretty thick line between contextual...
I think Pyro wearing a boot on his head is relatively fine.
It's. I think it's a stupid hat, but I mean, it's not as bad as a banana.
I wouldn't say it damages TF2's art style. I would say
If
I would
anyone
agree
were
it
to
is.
wear a boot on his head.
I would agree it's stupid, but I would not say it damages the art style.
No, I don't think it damages it either. Because like, I mean, even though it's a boot, it's not just something that just why. God, I can't even like make an argument for it because it's just it's equally as dumb. But the fact that it isn't a yellow fluorescent banana that you can dye lime green.
That's kind of that's why I was like advocating for like the yellow instead of the fluorescent banana. You have like a regular banana peel because at least then if it's stupid, it's fine because
Toned down.
It's like an object that would exist in the world and it doesn't look ridiculous. It doesn't look like you made something up and put it on their head. It's like, no, Pyro found a boot and put it on his head.
It's a Pyro thing to do, if we're being honest.
Probably.
If
To an
any
extent, yeah.
of the characters.
really comical and just fucking stupid.
There he is.
This is something.
That is a real loadout that you can make right now.
Yeah. And it's only gotten worse. This was 6 years ago. God.
Yeah.
What a disaster!
Pause it so you don't get copyright stricken.
Got him.
Thank you. God. You are a legend.
Yeah, because Funk makes the same mistakes as I do, and they put music we like in our videos, and we get no money, and yeah,
Big mistake.
So be careful.
How dare you do that? So yeah, that was our foray into quote unquote irresponsible videos. Does anyone in the call want to like elaborate maybe now on what they think irresponsible videos could be? Because I don't think any of us think that those were responsible.
Yeah, I don't think any of those were really irresponsible. I mean, you can try and make the argument, but it's really stretching. What would make it irresponsible is, hey guys, I don't like these cosmetic makers. Here's their Discord profiles. I didn't blank out anyone's names. Here's the Discord they frequent. Here's links to their page. You know what to do.
Here's a top 10 list of racial slurs.
Just like I think that'd be a good way. I'm trying to think of like a softer way you could make.
Yeah, no, that's pretty explicit, right? But
I mean,
when you make it softer, it gets to it's like kind of a interpretation issue usually, in my view at least.
Yeah, I think I'm biased because I mean you guys watch one of my videos, therefore I really shouldn't have a say in what I think is meant
go for it.
by irresponsibly crafted. I think the point, at least that what Dane was trying to make, is that the video, at least he thought it was over exaggerating a non-issue and inappropriately directing negative energy or anger towards people who don't deserve it, and you're just being mean for no reason, is I think what it ultimately boils down to.
I wouldn't agree that that's irresponsible. If that is what if he was in this call right now and he said that is, yes, that's exactly what I meant, I would tell him I don't think that that's irresponsible.
Yeah, then going back to like what you said, like a call to action, like if you're like putting someone like, hey, go attack this guy, or go do this thing you probably shouldn't do, that's being irresponsible, right?
Yes, I would absolutely agree. I think it's also.
But there's sorry, I'll let you go.
No, you go. I'm gonna take the conversation elsewhere. You go.
There's a gray zone between like, here's this person, go do bad things for them, and here's this person and what I think about them. End of story, right? But even past, and that's where you get to the gray zone of where like, okay, is this person like really just like putting this information out there and hoping that maybe something bad happens to them? Who knows? You know, anything could happen. But I think I don't want to like I don't know a family friendly way of saying that, so I don't want to take your side too much, but I think your video, you made every effort blanking out their names, you know, unless I went and did my own research, I would have no idea who these people are.
You would have to really go out of your way to... You already have to go out of your way. You already have to be a piece of shit to go out of your way to, like, bother someone that appears in the video, right? Like, you have to... That's taking extra time and energy that most people are not willing to set aside to go and be a jerk, right? Like, most people don't do that. So that's already step one. And then, you know, censoring names, not putting out deliberate information or names out there, but then having to perform yet an extra layer of research to find these people individually, and then go out of your way to be a dick. It's like,
yeah. The amount of people who are committed enough to actually go through with all of that is...
They were going to do it anyway.
Yeah, if they're gonna do all that, they were gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, provoked by something else, they were going to do it anyways, right?
Yeah, I think that I'm a huge fan of individual responsibility. I think that
everyone can make their own choices.
Yeah, it's like I think that the idea that you are to blame for someone else doing that is you're giving the person who did it like you're not giving them enough credit for the bad thing that they did. Like yeah, it's like ZestyJesus told me to, you know. Literally, Jesus told me to, so it's fine.
Was just following orders.
I think what happens is like you have the parroting of opinions because people just end up agreeing with the YouTuber, and that's stigmatized for some reason.
Yeah.
And so when they see like people mass parroting opinions, it's like, oh, you're being irresponsible because now a whole bunch of people are agreeing and saying the same thing.
So
even though they've made the decision to agree with it.
It's maybe a little off topic of our conclusion, but what do you think about Uncle Dane's take where people shouldn't worship YouTubers.
I think, well, I mean, he's not wrong. Obviously, you shouldn't just blindly agree or follow YouTubers' opinions without, you know, coming to your own conclusions at the end of it all. But I think that it's okay to end up agreeing with the YouTuber after you've come to your own well-informed, or not well-informed opinion, but so long as it's your own opinion and you agree with it, then I don't see a problem with it.
Well, yeah, agreeing with a person because they make an argument that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah,
You made sense.
I agree that you made sense. I think that Funk made slightly less sense, but it's still okay.
No, yeah, I mean, it's like it's okay to like understand like a house burning down is a problem. Like it's okay to agree with that, but then like because you don't pose the solution of putting water on the fire, then that's being bad or irresponsible.
And
perhaps.
why are we even talking about this anyway? That's not very interesting.
Oh my gosh, just like it's like this is like a non sequitur.
Anyway, I'm not trying to straw man Dane either. It's not like I know the guy, but
well, no, you know what
I mean.
We look. We're not saying he said this. He did say this, but we're not saying he said this and he means this about everything. It's just like it reminds me of just people talking to Mahler about making like 10+ hours reviews on a movie, and then being like, that's like twice the length of the movie. And therefore, everything you say in those 10 hours is now invalidated because you took too long. It's like, oh, well, I'm sorry that I took too long to say a thing because I wanted to be precise and say all of the things that I wanted to say about the thing. I'm sorry that I find this interesting enough to talk about it for 10 hours. My bad. I hate the idea that, like, it's like, oh, it's too boring. Try something else.
Well, then the video's not for you.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to watch it. It's just not, like don't address like my arguments then.
Like I think what Dane was trying to get at is because the only new stuff we get for TF2 are the cosmetics, that's become the focal point. But that's not like it's a bad thing. And in fact, that's totally fair because that is the only content we receive. So why shouldn't we be talking about it?
Agreed. And also,
why shouldn't we be focusing on that?
And also, like, yes, and like if that's like a non sequitur. Like, oh, you're talking about the cosmetics. Well, the cosmetics are only like the only thing you're getting, so that's why you're talking about them. It's like that could be true or untrue, and it would not matter.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Also, the person in chat who said Mahler's content has zero reason to be as long as it is, you're wrong, and I'm sorry. I will go out of my way to stand my second favorite YouTuber. Sorry. Anyways, I'm not even gonna add any arguments. I'm too cool. I'm just gonna say that the person's wrong.
I'm too cool. You're wrong.
Have you mentioned you're not part of the in-group?
Your opinions are not allowed here.
You are now going to be made
That's a
fun
joke.
of in
That's a joke.
Secret.
Look, if I could talk endlessly about how great Mahler's content is and how all of the time he spends on his work is great and very helpful. But that would be only a me conversation that I'd be having with myself, and there are 3 other people here, so we're not going to get into it. But yeah, I think that the idea I'm gonna make this stream is also kind of a setup because I want to make an entire video about what Uncle Dane said, and the idea of to use it sort of at like a springboard for to talk about the idea, because a lot of people believe that you can make a video or art in general irresponsibly, and they don't really know what that means since they just throw it out. And I'm gonna make an entire video discussing that topic while using Uncle Dane's video as a springboard. And
that's gonna be dangerous. Be very careful.
In what sense?
You're gonna get people who are not gonna be happy with what you say. I mean, you know this. You're a YouTuber, but
well, yeah, of course.
Defending one's ability to speak freely about sensitive issues.
It's
in the name of it not being irresponsible, right? Because if it's a problem and they find it to be a problem, then they should be allowed to speak about it. But just get ready.
No, yeah, for sure. I
just get ready.
I made a like a 24-minute long mini documentary about Muselk and his rise, his fall, his rise, and going over, and I took the position that he wasn't jumping ship for the for the purpose of trends, and I got backlash out the wazoo for saying that because I defended him and said that he wasn't a shitty person. And
well, I mean, you're not a shitty person for jumping off the train for chasing a trend, right? It's like,
well,
that's okay.
I don't even if I just maintain that I don't even think he did that. All I think he did, he lost his. I'm not gonna like regurgitate what I said. And then I did an interview with him after this where we further clarified what I meant. But all I said was, I think that people give him that reputation because they ascribe to him an identity, and therefore when they like, if you watch his earlier content and you watch what he makes now, you're like, this cannot be the same person, and then you arrive at your own conclusions and then you project that onto the person, and it makes sense why people do that, but it doesn't mean that that is correct, and it shouldn't be viewed as correct. All I say is that basically Musalk like killed the person that he once was from a creator's perspective. Like he took who he was and he changed that person. At least the person that he portrayed toward his audience.
Yeah.
And I think that that's fine.
No, yeah, of course it's fine. People evolve their content or online persona all the time.
But I got a huge amount of backlash from people who dislike Musalk and people who like Musalk who just misinterpreted what I said. And then I did an interview with Musalk and people didn't like that I did that because I said, like, hey, I admire your work ethic. You're insane. You're crazy. Like, I don't know how you accomplished everything that you did in such a short amount of time. It's wild. And
no, yeah, and I mean, to me, he chased the bag. He was on the hustle, and to me, that's totally okay, right? He wasn't being disingenuous about it. He was just doing what he wanted to do and did what he felt like he needed to do to keep being successful and doing what he enjoyed as being a YouTuber, and that's totally okay.
He literally just was just like, yeah, like I just didn't enjoy the game anymore.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
totally okay.
And I was like, yeah, that's like awesome. That's fine.
That's totally okay.
It's perfectly fine. My video's purpose was to more explain why people view him the way he does, not to like make judgments on his character.
No, I need to watch those. That sounds interesting. I'll put those in the watch later list.
I would say it's probably my best or second best video. It's either that or I don't know. I feel like I one up myself whenever I make videos.
You're instilling some lofty expectations from me here.
I will stand on those lofty expectations. I think it's a great video.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Regardless of that, I think that I'm not. I prefer to the whole point of my channel is I want to take things that people like enjoy, like TF2 or things that people are interested in, and say something broader about them that applies to life. If you watch the Musalk video, I do that. And if you watch every video after the Musalk video, I try and do that with all of them as well. I want to do that with the idea of making something irresponsibly, because people need to know that like they can make art about sensitive subjects, especially not to say that this is what Uncle Dane did, by the way, or what anyone who made quote unquote irresponsible videos did, but like you could argue that content about trauma that people have experienced is irresponsible because you're not. A lot of people say that like, oh, that's not reverent toward other people who've experienced that trauma. Like the way you're expressing it isn't the way everyone expressed it, so you shouldn't express the way you express it yourself. And I think that that's sad, you know? I think that's really unfortunate. And I
find that hypocritical because, not from you, but from the people who say that, because these are people who are so concerned about the experiences of the individual, but then when an individual expresses their own experiences, oh no, you can't do that.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And I'm not saying that that's what Uncle Dane was saying, but I think that a lot of people, when they talk about like what it means to be an irresponsible artist or an irresponsible creator, they don't really elaborate, and they just look at the effect that the art had, and then they blame that on the artist without actually taking into consideration like, oh, this is what the artist meant, or this is what the artist didn't mean. Like they don't actually think about that. They only think about like, oh, when the people watched the art, they got angry, and then they said a bunch of mean things to this person on Twitter, and that's like. That's all they see, and I think
no, yeah, and ultimately that's what a lot of negative discourse surrounding irresponsible creation boils down to is, oh, you offended somebody.
Yeah, you made someone upset, and therefore, or you made someone make someone upset even, and because of that person's actions are now the fault of the creator, even if the creator never intended for that to happen. It's like,
no,
well,
yeah,
he should have thought about that. Like, like how was I supposed to know that when I was talking about, I don't know, my experiences with anxiety and depression, that it was going to cause someone to say, look at someone else who's experienced anxiety and depression and invalidate them. Like, how was I supposed to know that would happen?
Like other people's offense is not my problem.
Right?
Yeah, it's not the problem of the YouTuber, right? Like, it's like your emotions and your reactions to what I say or do are entirely up to you, right?
Yeah. I think that individual responsibility often gets circumvented in conversations like this, where it's like the fault of people, like if someone's like, all the workshop creators are greedy, money hungry slugs, and they can't do anything right, all of them universally, and then someone's like, man, I can't believe ZestyJesus made that video, and then they said that because of that video. That's so cringe. Can't believe he did that. It's like, what the, it's like, what the fuck? Did you not address like the man on person who said that? Like, what? Why are we ignoring the person who did the thing?
A lot of the stuff, like, at least involved with me, is just a lot of, you know, it's a lot of the reduction of arguments for the sake of reactionary dogpiling and virtue signaling for getting social points. It's a lot of what it boils down to. Again, it's like, oh, he dare go against what me think, therefore he bad, there in grr and rah, you know.
Well, I'll be like candid. I did like a little bit of like a background check on you before because I already knew most of the stuff, but
dude, it's fine, I don't care.
No, I know. I know that. I'm mostly being candid for the sake of stream, but like I look to make sure, like, hey, before I talk about this guy, let me make like doubly sure that the things that people say about this person aren't true, or if they are true, they're very different, right? And lo and behold, I was like, yeah, this is what he said, and this is something that I don't think that this person's evil, so I don't have any issue with talking about the things he said about the funny class shooter that I think is good. Yeah. So yeah, I take no issue with anything you've said, TF2 or otherwise.
And even if you did, I don't care. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Well, yeah,
you can agree to disagree and not want to tear each other's heads off.
That's the thing. We talked a little bit before we started this about like, oh, what I was like, well, we should stay away from. Like, I don't want to be a political podcast. That's not the point. This is talking about content and art, but like, when it comes to matters of controversy or issues, it's like if someone comes on and they've said something, someone comes on the show and they've said something, and it's like, oh, I'm not co-signing anything that like literally everything ZestyJesus or anyone in this call has said.
Yeah,
like that's not how it works. Like if someone
just because you're in the same room of the guy and talking with him doesn't mean you automatically agree with every single thing they've said.
Like I think that's a ridiculous perspective to have. Like if someone were to come at me and be like, you have Alan on your podcast, do you know what he said? I'd be like, well, I didn't say it. This wasn't me, and
You're platforming.
I'm not. No, he didn't say any of these things on my podcast. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Look, I'm not going to give my opinion on anything he said. It's not my things to say. You know, you can talk to him about it, not me. It's like not my point. Yeah, I think that extends to the TF2 Artstyle stuff, where it's like, if someone were to be like, oh, so you literally agree with everything ZestyJesus has ever said about TF2 or anything else for that matter, be like, no, probably something out there that I don't agree with ZestyJesus on. I don't know what to tell you. It probably exists.
There's no room for nuance anymore. Everything has to be extreme end member crazy crap nowadays.
Yes. Man's is so correct. I agree. Nuance is dead. I made video about the TF2 versus Overwatch stuff, and I outlined how it happened and how it goes and why it's a stupid discussion. And I just like got so many people, because the title of the video is TF2 versus Overwatch : gaming's dumbest debate, and I got so many comments of people thinking that they're really funny, who just said it's a dumb debate because TF2 is clearly better. It's just like, did you watch anything? Man.
a lot of people comment without watching. That's a
true.
Common observation.
It's true, and it's just sad because I'm like, man, could you just like think? It's like, no, we have no time to think. we're YouTube commenters. We can't use our brains.
Have the gears turn for a few minutes before you decide to write a comment.
Yeah. On that note, though, I think we'll close things out. We've been going for almost 4 hours, so yeah. But it was good having you, Zesty. You are welcome to come back if we ever talk about a topic you're interested in.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
I feel like I may have just injected myself into this, but
no,
I do
not at all.
For chit chatting. It was fun.
No, this was this was wonderful. I think we will close things out. Yeah. And thank you to all the people in chat who've been watching. It's been crazy. There's been like 40 people average on here, so that's crazy. Yeah, it's good to see you all. We'll close things out, and yeah, bye-bye.